Royal Banks of Missouri, the community bank that's in your community. Visit them on the web at royalbanksofmo.com.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Then here's a great idea. Donate your car and help veterans and their families. Yes, one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program and we'll come and remove your car for free. Fast, free towing, and 24-hour response. You can donate most cars, trucks, or SUVs in most conditions. The proceeds raised goes to help active military, veterans, and their families, and you get a tax deduction. All you need to do is make this free call. Get rid of that old car and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now and book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Donation Program now. Donate your car and help veterans and their families. Operators are standing by. Here's the number.
800-925-1596. 800-925-1596. 800-925-1596. That's 800-925-1596.
The latest news.
The St. Louis Business Journal is now reporting that liberal billionaire George Soros is the largest shareholder of Odyssey,
the parent company of KMOX and 97.1 Talk.
Anyone listening should be advised.
The news you need to know.
We've all heard the calls for me to drop out.
Why do you think she's staying in the race?
I don't think she knows how to get out.
And the place to talk about it.
She's hurting her chances for 2028.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Wildest ride you'll ever witness is all of the above, and it's about to go down. NASCAR Cup Series, the Ambetter Health 400 from Atlanta. Coverage begins Sunday at 2 Eastern on Fox.
Now, a look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Friday, February 23rd. This is the Fox News Rundown. We're one day away from the South Carolina GOP presidential primary. Republican presidential hopeful Nikki Haley's facing increasing pressure to get out of the race now.
Between Joe Biden and Donald Trump is Nikki Haley. And so getting out of the way is incredibly important, not for the party, but for America's future.
South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, but Haley is vowing to keep campaigning.
60% of Americans have said Donald Trump's too old and Joe Biden's too old to run for president. We have to win, and we need a new generational leader that can put in 8 years of hard work, day and night, making sure we get things done. No drama, no vendettas, just results for the American people.
The former South Carolina governor is hoping for her first primary win in her home state Saturday. Recent polls put her 25 points behind Donald Trump. Some contenders to be former President Trump's running mate are taking center stage at CPAC. We have more from Fox's Ryan Schmelz.
The annual Conservative Political Action Conference will feature a straw poll for who conference goers think should be former President Trump's running mate. Florida Congressman Byron Donalds is on that short list and tells the crowd he hopes Republicans can transform the U.S. government this November.
We have to have leadership that holds our government accountable.
Former President Trump has also floated Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Senator Tim Scott, Vivek Ramaswamy, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, and former Democrat turned independent Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
And lawyers for former President Trump on Thursday night filing an appeal to dismiss his classified documents case. I'm Sue Guzman on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL. 1019, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com.
On the next,
Larry Connors, USA.
Mark this down. Going forward, the Biden crime family defense will be amnesia. I just don't remember.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Hey, everybody, it's Rob Carter. Did you know that every day 10,000 baby boomers turn 65 and need help deciphering their Medicare options? I want to tell you about my lifelong friend, Pamela Berry, Pilgrim Pammy. She has over 2 decades of experience dealing with Medicare insurance. She's an expert specializing in business owners, but she can assist you too. She'll help you navigate and uncomplicate Medicare. With nearly 70 plan options, special enrollments may be available. Call Pilgrim Pammy at 314-659-9841.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo for the cleaning pros at Zero Res who are spreading the love for the month of February. We've trusted Zero Res with our home for years, and right now they have an incredible offer. Just book a cleaning in the month of February and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $119, plus they'll throw in a free hallway, and you can take $50 off an air duct cleaning. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Never paint again. This is Darren, owner of Rhino Shield. Want to eliminate painting your home, business, or church? Call the experts at Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is a revolutionary ceramic wall coating to regular paint and vinyl. Perfect for aluminum, steel, unpainted brick, block, stucco, ephes, drive-it, cement board, and wood sidings. Rhino Shield eliminates wasting time and money painting year after year. Our ceramic coating deflects 90% of the sun's UV rays and 100% of the moisture. Our clients want affordable protection with the elimination of maintenance. Rhino Shield protects your biggest investment while maintaining your architectural features and gives you the curb appeal you deserve. Make your home great again by working with the Rhino Shield experts. A+ rated with the BBB. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. Car Shield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Friday, Putin running wild right now, murdering at will, incarcerating American citizens that are in Russia. It's obvious that Vlad, the evil lad, fears no one in the West. Now, that's not President Biden's fault, although Trump did a much better job containing Dr. Evil. Whether he could duplicate that in a second term is unknowable. If I were president, I'd halt U.S.-originated flights to Russia and clearly say that all American citizens should leave right now. I would keep the U.S. Embassy open, but with a skeleton crew. There are places in the world where dangerous conditions simply overwhelm any reason to go. Some countries in Africa, Haiti, Burma, North Korea, Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan fall into that category. I will not travel to Mexico because that country is so corrupt. Americans have no protections whatsoever there. The foolish college kids spring breaking down there are insane. If you get into trouble, no one will help you. Comprende? To be fair, there are places in the USA I won't go. Oakland, south side of Chicago, 9th Ward, New Orleans, San Francisco, to name a few. To be fair, this from a guy who dodged violence in El Salvador, Argentina, Northern Ireland, and the aforementioned Haiti. Right now, the world should totally boycott Russia. That's about all we can do. Now this. If you thought booking your timeshare was difficult before, you know it's almost impossible now. For more than a decade, Lone Star Transfer has helped thousands of owners legally and permanently get out of their never-ending timeshare fees. Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. For free, no-obligation consultation, please call 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Well, some weather whiplash heading into the weekend, but today looks good. Sunshine in control, up to 62, turning breezy as winds go westerly and gust up to 25 miles per hour. Quick cold front slides through tonight, maybe a stray sprinkle, but we're basically dry, down to 34 early Saturday. It's quite a bit cooler tomorrow. Saturday's high 48 with some sunshine. Mostly sunny Sunday and another quick warm-up. We start the day near 40. We top out at 70 Sunday afternoon. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Number one for live and local
Conservative talk.
They always have great conversation.
news, analysis, and opinion.
As you know, the special counsel releases findings today about their look into my handling of classified documents.
Unmitigated disaster.
I did not break the law.
The Supreme Court is taking into consideration the political ramifications.
Why should a single state make this determination?
A handful of states are going to decide the presidential election.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Despite the best efforts of the Democrats in the Missouri legislature and, frankly, some of the Republicans, initiative petition reform, it is 1/3 of the way to actually happening in the state. I'll give you the update on that in our news roundup here in just about 14 minutes or so. Hey, good morning. Mike Ferguson here. Also, a lawsuit against the city of St. Louis, and, of course, this one I've got a very personal look at it as well because the city's being sued because of how long it took for an ambulance to get to an emergency scene. Of course, you remember I witnessed that last year when one of my friends had a heart attack on the baseball field. But this lawsuit says that the city should be liable because the ambulance stopped and didn't go to where somebody needed help. I'll tell you about that a little bit later on. Curious what you think about that. Hey, good morning. Mike Ferguson here. Interesting conversation yesterday. You know, you get that census every once in a while, every 10 years or so. The census is supposed to just count heads. You know, how many people live in each state? Where do they live? And let's draw the district lines for state representative, state senate, and Congress accordingly. But there's also this thing called the American Community Survey where they try to get more details, and you're supposed to answer it under the threat of big fines if you don't turn over some really personal information to the government. Personally, I've never done it, and I've told them, go ahead and sue me or arrest me or whatever, but they never have. Talked to one of the lawyers at the Pacific Legal Foundation about that, not just about how creepy some of the questions are, but is it violating your rights and your freedom? And here's how it went. The census is supposed to be something that's pretty cut and dry. You count how many people are in the country, you count where they are, and then you assess where the congressional district lines are based on that. Pretty simple. Well, there's been a mission creep with the census, or what's known as the American Community Survey, and it's gotten bad enough that there are some people who are fighting back and suing because they say the government doesn't have the right to threaten penalties for not giving the government too much personal information. Is that a fair critique? I'm Mike Ferguson. I am now joined by Adi Dynar from the Pacific Legal Foundation. And Adi, thanks so much for being on the program, being one of the attorneys at Pacific Legal. A couple of your clients here suing the federal government over census takers demanding answers. Let me start with basically what are the types of questions they were asking, and then I want to get into why this is so over the top and why it violates the law and our rights. What are some of the questions that your clients were being asked?
Mike, thanks for having me. So imagine if some random person shows up at your house and demands that you tell them about your job history, about your gender and sexual orientation, whether the parents and children in the same house are biologically related, and whether and how many times each person has been previously married, widowed, or divorced. You would probably have some unkind words to say to this person and dispatch the person to go on their way. But that's the kind of questions that the Census Bureau personnel ask under this survey called the American Community Survey, which is not the census, by the way. As you said, the census is pretty straightforward. How many people in the country, that's pretty much it. But the American Community Survey consists of about 100 plus questions, highly intrusive questions that require people to give details of their personal circumstances, including, psychological history, medical history, and so forth. And if you don't answer those questions, then the Census Bureau can technically fine you thousands of dollars for refusing to answer. So this is an issue because, like many ordinary Americans, my clients value their privacy and they do not want to give the government or anybody else any, intrusive details about their private lives.
Okay, so when you mention those massive fines that can be levied, 3 times now in my adult life, I have told the census takers asking those intrusive questions, I said, there are X number of people living in my house. There are X number of people who are of military draft age, and that's all you need to know. And they told me this required by federal law that I answer this. I'm required to get this information. And my answer, just smart aleckly, was call the cops. And I just told them to have a nice day and close the door. So you're telling me under what the Census Bureau threatens to do, they could go after somebody criminally or civilly, maybe, and fine thousands and thousands of dollars. So did I put myself in a position to get wiped out financially by the federal government by telling them to buzz off?
So what happens is, it's attrition by numbers, right? So this American Community Survey reaches roughly, and this is just an estimate, millions of Americans every year. And, many thousands of those Americans refuse to answer. So I think what's happening is that the Census Bureau is simply overwhelmed by the sheer number of people who refuse to answer. So even though they could prosecute everybody who has refused to answer, they just don't have the funding, thankfully, from Congress to pursue those, those individual claims for fines against Americans who refuse.
We are visiting with Adi Dynar from the Pacific Legal Foundation. What authority is being claimed to demand this kind of personal information? I mean, you mentioned sexuality, you mentioned medical history, mental history. Is this something that Congress has actually passed into law, or is this something that the Census Bureau has come up with on its own because they're threatening federal fines if you don't cooperate with it?
So Congress has authorized the Census Bureau to collect information for the actual census. And the Census Bureau is claiming that that language gives them this sort of broad authority to then ask hundreds of highly intrusive questions. So the legal argument in the case is that the narrow words that Congress used in the census context cannot be expanded to then give the Census Bureau this sort of authority to search for highly personal details of millions of Americans every year.
So in addition to the uncomfortable factor, I mean, the fact that you don't want to tell a personal stranger this kind of information, what's the potential danger? I mean, what's the problem with the government asking for survey information, for research, or for data? I mean, other than it's really uncomfortable to tell somebody, talk to somebody about something sexual or anything like that. What's the actual problem with them demanding this information?
So there are several problems. The most obvious being, the intrusion into privacy. And, many people are very careful in protecting their private affairs from getting out to the government. And also, I mean, there's the sort of issue with, what sort of procedures the government is using to threaten people with thousands of dollars in fines. Now, if the Census Bureau had, for example, made this survey fully voluntary, sort of an opt-in survey, Of course, any volunteer who wished to give their personal information could then give the Census Bureau their personal information, and that would be a fully voluntary process, an opt-in process. But obviously here, the Census Bureau wants to use this threat of fines to coerce people under duress to give the government information with that, or else hanging on the top of their heads if they refuse to answer. And that is the issue is, if this were voluntary, there wouldn't be the same kind of problems with the government running a survey. But because it is compulsory, that is the issue.
Okay, talk about the lawsuit for a moment that's been filed on behalf of two clients, Maureen Murphy and John Huddleston. What's the status of that lawsuit right now, and what is it that you're seeking to have the court order or stop doing? What's the result that you want?
So the lawsuit is currently in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. So that is the intermediate appellate court under the United States Supreme Court. In that court, we will be presenting oral arguments at the end of March 2024. And after that, the court will have a few months to issue a decision. But essentially, what we're asking the Ninth Circuit to do is to recognize that there are thousands of individuals in America that refuse to answer this survey. And the government then threatens them with thousands of dollars in fines. All we want from our client's perspective is that the courts hear them out and require the government to explain why they continue to threaten people and try to obtain their private information under duress.
From a individual rights perspective, from a legal perspective, does it matter what the federal government wants to do with the survey information that they're trying to compel? I mean, can they make an argument to say, yes, but it's going to have these benefits, or is this just simply a matter of they either have the authority to do it or they don't have the authority to do it?
It's both in part because first, they just simply do not have the statutory authority to do this. But even if the court were to look beyond that and say, well, is this information useful to the government? Then I think the issue there is, yeah, sure, information is useful to the government. But, if we know anything about the Constitution, we know that, the Constitution restricts the things that government can do to the people. So, for example, without probable cause, you can't do a search of a home. Without probable cause, you can't seize property. That's in the Fourth Amendment. People have the freedom of speech. People have the freedom to remain silent. So there are all of these individual protections that the Constitution recognizes, but the Census Bureau does not recognize when it compels people to answer the American Community Survey.
Okay, so this is going to be a wake-up call to a lot of people that you've just given them through this conversation, which I really appreciate. This is Adi Dynar from the Pacific Legal Foundation. So, Adi, people want to follow not just this case, but the other things you're working on with Pacific Legal or your colleagues at Pacific Legal. How do they get in touch? Where do they find you online, social media, website, anything like that?
So we have a very good website. It's pacificlegal.org. Again, it's pacificlegal.org, and you can contact us through the website, and then you'll be able to find all of our Facebook, Twitter or X, and other social media on that website.
All right, Adi, thank you so much for the update. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
News Roundup coming your way just ahead right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
Thanks for being my voice in all this.
This is News Talk STL.
There are people out there that feel the way that I feel and say what I say.
Welcome home.
It's a new year, so come check out the great financing offers going on now at Seavers JCB. Rates as low as 0.99% on nearly all JCB compact construction equipment, including the industry-leading JCB Teleskid. For details, go to SeaversJCB.com. Mini excavators, track loaders, small wheel loaders, and even the industry-leading JCB compact load all range. Seavers JCB has them all. Visit SeaversJCB.com for more information.
I got an email which brought a smile. A woman named Mary wrote me, "We are purchasing a new roof from John Beal based on your recommendation." I thanked her then. I do it again now. Mary, I only endorse clients I believe in, and I've been a spokesman for John Beal for 10 years. It's all about trust. So if, like Mary, you need John Beal, trust me. Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
The Vic Porcelli Show. The bee or not the bee?
According to a study, female frogs fake their deaths to avoid having sex.
But I don't think it was the bee. I'm going to say not the bee.
That's not the bee. That's actually true. Female frogs, just like human women, fake their own deaths just to avoid having sex.
Vic Porcelli, live and local weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Where do my friends and other students find their voice? We find our voice through the performing arts, along with millions of other high school students. By expressing yourself in a role on stage, through an instrument, or at the debate podium, the performing arts give us freedom to find ourselves, to find our place. The stage is where I can play, perform, and compete with my friends.
Performing arts at your school is where creativity meets courage. Encourage the students in your life to find their voice through the performing arts. This message presented by the NFHS, where we encourage all students to play, perform, and compete together.
This news update brought to you by Anton's Plumbing and HVAC. Call Anton's at 314-338-3941 or visit them at antonshvac.com.
Good morning, St. Louis. It's Ben Shapiro. Join me every weeknight for The Ben Shapiro Show. But right now, back to the Mike Ferguson Show on the new conservative voice of St. Louis, 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
All right, protecting Missouri state constitution, protecting Illinois taxpayers. I got updates on both.
Oh, we're doing a lot of protection this morning.
Well, we're going to do it in Missouri and try to do it in Illinois.
Okay.
Try, being the operative word. All right, the city is getting sued again for not responding to an emergency call fast enough.
Wow, the story continues.
Yeah, just another layer after another layer after another. Obviously, this hits me a little bit more personally because I've had experience with this in the city. And Uncle Charlie gets to play on a new stage.
Awesome.
Yeah, congratulations to him. This is actually kind of fun. All right, we'll talk about that in just a second. Coming up on 5:52 right now. That's Del Pontigas. I'm Mike Ferguson. Just want to be accurate down to the second. Just saying. All right, happy Friday. Yes, I'm in a little bit of a loopy mood, so this will be fun. All right, initiative petition reform is 1/3 of the way to getting done in Missouri. The state Senate approved the referendum question that adds to the requirement of a majority vote. Okay, let me just make sure I'm parsing this out right. So if this referendum passes, then future efforts to amend the state constitution will require both a majority vote statewide, which is what it requires right now, But what will be added is that we'll also have to have a majority vote in at least 5 of the state's 8 congressional districts. So it kind of models the U.S. constitutional convention and constitutional amendment process a little bit. Measure now goes to the state house. If it's approved there, then the third step is that voters have to have the final say this year. But I do have things to warn you about during this entire process, so we'll get the full update in just a little bit as well here. All right, let's see here. Senator Eric Schmidt was on Fox News last night on Laura Ingram's show, responding to President Biden's announcement that he's forgiving another $1 billion in student loan debt.
It's a slap in the face to working America, to middle-class families, to the people that paid back their student loans, the people who made different life decisions or decided not to take out loans or work their way through college. I mean, it's totally ridiculous. And he's at it again, and he's at a cynical ploy here to try to buy votes.
Well, I think Eric's right about that. But here's the thing is you can point out up and down to some 28-year-old who's in hopes of having their student loan payments, discharged and go, he's just trying to buy your vote. And you know what they're going to say still?
No.
They're going to say, sure, it's for sale.
Well,
thank you.
Sadly.
I'll do it.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So we can go, gotcha. We're pointing out it's a vote buying scheme of the Democrats. If you're a Democrat and you're listening right now, if I were you, I'd go, yeah, and so it's your money. We're buying it with your money. Pretty much is how we are.
It's like the border situation. Yeah,
yeah.
Okay. The votes are coming through the border.
Yeah, eventual. Yep. All right. Speaking of international stuff, Secretary of State Antony Blinken says more sanctions on Russia are forthcoming. I'm sure Vladimir Putin's shaking in his boots. This is after the death of a Russian opposition leader, Alexei Navalny, who died in prison.
The fact that Vladimir Putin saw it necessary to persecute, poison, and imprison one man speaks volumes, not about Russia's strength under Putin, but its weakness.
That's Secretary Blinken speaking at a news conference in Brazil after a meeting with G20 leaders there. Kremlin refusing calls to release Navalny's body for an investigation into his cause of death, which it denies was murder by poison. They actually at one point are reportedly told the family that he just died of sudden death syndrome. That's what they made up.
That sounds pretty suspicious to me.
Oh, jeez, yeah. They're not even really trying to hide it on this. All right, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker gave a State of the State address this week. As you would expect, it's a lot of very big government. Republican State Representative Patrick Windhorse responds to the speech.
He proposed a budget that is going to be record spending and also be in a deficit of about $700 million. We have been warning that this would happen as Republicans, as we've seen spending increase year after year, and now we're going to see tax increases to help balance that budget. We should address the issues here in the state of Illinois. We should be spending money on our citizens and not focused on the immigration crisis. That needs to be solved at the national level, and we need to deal with the issues here in Illinois.
We're going to have State Representative Blaine Wilhour from the Illinois Freedom Caucus with us at 7:05 today. All right, want to work for the Cardinals? Not you still, you have a job. I wanted to work for them, but they already have a catcher. There is a job fair for game day positions like ushers and event attendants on Saturday. This runs from 10 a.m. to noon, so just a 2-hour event. Go to the Redbird Club at Busch Stadium if you want to interview on the spot. Bring your resume if you've got one. You have to be at least 16 years old to be hired. Parking is in Lot C. Entrance for the job fair is next to Gate 2. That's the one right behind home plate, just off 8th Street, in case you wanted to go work for the Cardinals.
You know, I would encourage folks to check it out if they would like to. I have a couple of longtime friends who are ushers, and they've been doing it for quite a few years, and they love it.
Yeah, it's a great job for both young people and, of course, retired people as well when they come in and get to be at the Cardinals games. All right, the Blues wrap up their homestand on a pretty good note, shutting out the Islanders. The final score in Enterprise was 4-0. Today's a travel day. Blues have the NHL's early game tomorrow, playing the Red Wings in Detroit. That game starts at 11 a.m. Okay, a couple of other notes on the Cardinals. Cardinals start spring training play tomorrow with split squad games. Part of the team will host the Marlins. The other will play the Mets. Both games start just after noon. Bally Sports Midwest and MLB TV will show those games respectively. Uncle Charlie announces that he gets to play on country music's legendary stage.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, March 9th, Adam Wainwright will perform at the Grand Ole Opry.
Wow.
Look at that. Wainwright's first single, which he did perform at Busch Stadium last season, is now, as of today, officially available for purchase. It is called Time to Fly.
When it's important to you,
I'm not happy with Biden.
I would like to see Nikki drop out.
it's on News Talk STL.
U.S. officials say the troops manning the outpost had a little warning.
We will absolutely do what is required to protect ourselves, to continue that mission, and to respond appropriately to these attacks.
News, analysis, opinion.
I feel more informed when I listen.
Number one for live and local conservative talk. 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
So we finally got the parts for the time machine. Classic Kicks Country is streaming now. Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s. Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks. Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at ClassicKicks.com. Or enable the Classic Kicks skill on Alexa. 90s new country streaming now. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Former President Trump's legal team, citing executive privilege, is asking a Florida judge to dismiss the criminal case charging Mr. Trump with illegally holding on to classified documents. Looking to punish Russia for the war in Ukraine and the death of dissident Alexei Navalny, the Biden administration is imposing hundreds of new sanctions on Russia, and a Russian ally is also targeted.
The White House says those forthcoming sanctions on Iran are in retaliation for its arms sales that have bolstered Russia's invasion of Ukraine. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby also issued a new warning to Iran that providing ballistic missiles to Russia would be met with even more sanctions and a swift and severe response.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston. They spread the word in speech and song, and former President Trump assures the nation's religious broadcasters,
we're going to save this country. It will be thanks to the men and women like you, like the people in this audience, and we are represented by the best, the people who make God's work your work, God's work, your work. That's what you do, and I want to thank you all. Incredible job. Thank you very much.
Mr. Trump addressing the National Religious Broadcasters Convention in Nashville last evening. AT&T putting to rest speculation over the cause of yesterday's nationwide cell phone outage, saying it was not the result of a cyber attack, but was a technical issue, according to AT&T. A privately owned lander has touched down on the moon, marking America's return to the lunar surface after more than 50 years. After his release pending trial, Alexander Smirnov has been rearrested. The ex-FBI informant is accused of lying about a Biden family bribery scheme. Wall Street, Dow futures up 46 points, NASDAQ futures down 14. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, Mark, remember, getting help from Progressive is so easy. You can use the mobile app, chat with us online, or call us.
And you pick now to tell me.
I couldn't miss Little Grace's ballet recital. Oh, thanks for inviting me, by the way.
Did I?
Because, I'm always here for you.
Yeah. I can use the mobile app if I need help. Sorry, you're in my wife's seat, though?
Oh, yeah, I gotta go anyway. Tell Grace she nailed her chassé.
Get the help you need from Progressive with our mobile app, online chat, or over the phone. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Well, some weather whiplash heading into the weekend, but today looks good. Sunshine in control, up to 62, turning breezy as winds go westerly and gust up to 25 miles per hour. Quick cold front slides through tonight, maybe a stray sprinkle, but we're basically dry, down to 34 early Saturday. It's quite a bit cooler tomorrow. Saturday's high 48 with some sunshine. Mostly sunny Sunday and another quick warm up. We start the day near 40. We top out at 70 Sunday afternoon. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-432-8150. 800-432-8150. 800-432-8150. That's 800-432-8150.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
I voted for Trump.
I voted for Nikki Haley.
I want to thank everybody. And just a little note to Nikki. She's not going to win.
101.9 and 94.1.
Far from over.
News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
We have a hope.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
What do you call a genius in President Biden's Homeland Security Department? A visitor.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
It's Friday.
All right, another moon landing.
Another moon landing.
Yep.
50 years later.
Or did it really happen?
Ooh.
It was a soundstage in Las Vegas.
You know how I know? It's because of the shadows,
That's
man.
right. And there was a cat walking in the background. All right. What the heck happened with that cell phone outage thing yesterday? We got more questions than answers, but let's follow up on that at 6:20.
Yeah.
Because we have a very basic, like 2-sentence explanation from AT&T.
Oh, really?
And people are going, come on, tell me more than that. So let's do that just a little bit later here. But it's interesting how I'm willing to take AT&T at the face value of what they said. I don't have any issue with that.
Sure.
But it's just interesting how across the country you're seeing so many people going, whoa, but what happens if the whole thing goes down? It really has reverberated through the country, saying, man, people are realizing how dependent we all are on cell technology.
And how susceptible we are to something happening.
Yep, without a doubt. So I think that's the most fascinating thing about this, because, glitches happen.
Yep.
All right, there was another moon landing yesterday. This happened.
What we can confirm, without a doubt, is our equipment is on the surface of the moon. Houston, Odysseus has found his new home.
Okay. Yes, we have Greeks on the moon.
There you go.
I love it.
So there we go. This is a rover. It's back on the moon. And the big question, of course, is why?
because reasons. No, but I think it's landed on the South Pole. I'm not sure if there's been any moon landings in that region before. One of the things is the poles actually portend the possibility of ice. And they may want to be searching for something like that. If there is actually like liquid water or water ice on the moon, because there's like carbon dioxide ice and things like that out there. If there's actually water ice on the moon, that would be a real boon. It'd be a real plus to the eventual plans of having a base there.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I thought I read in a couple places last night that they need to try to get as much work done as they can because the landing was in an area where the sun is hitting, so it's about 212 degrees Fahrenheit, supposedly.
Well, since there's no atmosphere on the moon, you're not protected from the direct radiation from the sun, so things can heat up real fast, and obviously cool down real fast on the opposite side, right? So now, because the moon is always kind of facing in one direction, you're going to have the hot and cold side. So that's one of the challenges of designing any of these things is it has to deal with the environment in which it operates, and eventually, the nature wins. It destroys everything that we build over time. So, they are going to have limited amount of time before basically it gets cooked.
Okay, this is a really, I'm sure, a naive question from a non-science guy, and I don't mean this to sound as smart ass as it's probably going to sound.
Sure.
I really don't mean it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no atmosphere, so we're not protected from the sun's radiation. There are extreme highs and lows temperatures with whatever their daily orbit is out there. I mean, 24 hours here, whatever it is on the moon.
It's always facing, one side's always facing the sun, so it's always going to be.
So why do we want to colonize and build and live there?
Because there's a lot of cheese available.
Well, yeah, I like cheese.
There's benefits to constructing things in microgravity or less than 1G. There's the idea that they're going to use the moon as a way station for launching Mars missions.
Oh, okay.
So this is the first step.
Okay,
it's the beachhead into further space exploration.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because I'm like, I don't want, someday in my lifetime, if I get the question, hey, where do you want to go on vacation? You want to go to Vegas? No, I don't like Vegas. You want to go to the beach? Sure, that sounds good. You want to go to, the All-Star game? Yes, absolutely. You want to go to the moon? Not this year.
No.
I don't want to get into that.
Oh, sure. There are people who camp out near volcanoes, like active volcanoes in like Switzerland or in places like that or whatever.
Or Hawaii.
Or Hawaii.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Human adventurism is a thing.
There's actually a category for those people that literally camp out next to active volcanoes. They're called dumb.
Yes.
I would be terrified.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm fine with scientific exploration doing dangerous things because there's, conceivably a benefit that can come from understanding those things. But I never really quite understood the people who just want to vacation in dangerous places or is like, go swim with the sharks and things like that. I'm not really sure.
I have swum with sharks.
Okay. What was it? What is that?
Now it was a controlled environment.
Sure. You're in a cage or something or
it was this massive aquarium tank at the Bahamas.
Okay.
In the Bahamas. And so my wife got me a kind of as a present a snorkeling session. So a bunch of us were there. It was at the Atlantis Resort. And so a lot of people don't realize this is that they've got massive aquariums everywhere. But what they're doing is they're breeding wildlife. And then once they get old enough, they release them into the ocean. So it's actually doubles as a conservation thing.
Oh, cool.
But they've got this millions of gallons tank, and it's got sharks and stingrays and everything, a bunch of fish in there. And so I went snorkeling in there with all the sharks and the stingrays and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Okay. Now, if you're allowed to snorkel with the or the sharks, they're not the dangerous sharks.
These were, what do they call them? They were tiger sharks, I think, or something like that. They were. They could do some damage, but they weren't very big.
Okay.
But still, a shark is a shark. But yeah, it was. It was weird looking down, and there's a shark.
Yeah,
nothing in between me and the shark.
Now I've done the stingray thing, basically a giant saltwater tank, right? I've done that, and that is really cool. But there was a section that was, now it was separated off. Like it was actually sort of an aquarium inside the aquarium because they didn't want you actually swimming with them. And they had like barracudas and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, I don't think I would have done a barracuda.
When I was snorkeling, I didn't realize that there was a separation between me and the barracudas. So when I see a barracuda for the first time, I freaked the heck out.
Yeah.
So it was quite the sight.
Oh,
It's
man.
And then I caught myself, and it was embarrassing.
Oh, man. No, we were those things because we were getting like our stuff on, and they were teaching us, hey, if you don't know how to use the snorkeling stuff, which I know how to use it, but the one of the ladies who was kind of there being our guide, one of the stingrays was swimming up to where we were, and she was just standing between it like it was a pet. Like, no, George, can't see them yet. Go that way, and just like bumping him that way.
Oh my gosh.
They still had the stingers on the tails. They didn't, know. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. That was great. Okay, real quick, initiative petition reform in Missouri.
Okay,
because we've talked about this, a lot over the past few years. So the good news is it is 1/3 of the way into being done.
Okay.
The state Senate yesterday approves it.
All right.
Okay, party line vote, which was expected, so now goes to the state house.
But the Republicans stood together this time.
This time they did.
Okay.
Okay, don't give them full credit yet.
All right. We're only a third, you said.
Right, we're only a third because it's Senate, then House, and then the third is voters. So we actually have to be warming up our friends and colleagues to say, listen, we've got to do this. Regardless of whether they're conservative or not, but especially if they're conservative, it's like we need to do this because it's a lot more than just what's on the ballot right now. So the House, there are ways for the establishments to still derail this.
Oh, boy.
Now, in the House, they can't filibuster.
Okay.
So the Democrats are irrelevant to the conversation in the House.
Okay.
So if the House simply says, you know what, it's important to put this on the ballot, we vote yes, done.
Right.
Okay, then it goes right to the voters.
Okay.
Now, here's how the establishment can mess things up. They can say, ooh, we want to add an amendment. Or, boy, there was those things that the establishment in the Senate stripped out, which, granted, I'm frustrated that they stripped it out, but we've got a chance to have initiative petition reform right now. And so if they add anything or delete anything, then it has to go back to the Senate and start over.
Oh, geez.
Where it was like pulling teeth to get it to where it is right now. So what can happen is if somebody messes with it in the House and they decide to play any games, even if they do the, hey, we're going to put this non-citizen voting thing back in, that kind of stuff, then they know that starts the process over.
Oh, boy.
And so if that happens, then the same people who voted for it the one time yesterday can either delay it, run the clock out, whatever, and still get to go around their statewide campaigns and go, no, I voted for it. They're right there.
Boy.
Look it up. I voted for it.
Oh, boy.
So there's still a chance for the establishment to make sure this does not go to voters. Now, hopefully they're going to do the right thing because Republican voters want this.
Yes,
and Republican
absolutely.
voters are the majority of the state.
Well, really, we need this.
We have to have it.
Yes, I mean, because we've got those referendums coming up that are they're going to be affected specifically by this, right?
Because remember, if this goes on the ballot, and it would probably go on the August ballot, would be my guess. Tim Jones was on earlier this week saying we're hoping that the governor would put it on in June. I would be really surprised if he does that. But my guess is he would put it on in August where the primary elections are happening, which means that's a massive Republican turnout.
Yes.
So if it passes there, then if the left gets their pro-abortion referendum on the ballot, if they get their anti-Second Amendment referendum on the ballot, then the standard is higher.
Yes.
To pass those. So we can get this done and we can preserve, but also it should just take more of a consensus than 50% plus one to alter the state constitution. This isn't just about what's happening this year, but it's funny because the media is going and Republicans are feeling extra pressure because of an abortion petition that's in the works right now. And there are some Republicans going, well, no, it's not about that. Well, hell yeah, it's about that.
Yes, it's absolutely about that.
This is about this does show how important this is. And it's about things like it down the road. So don't run from that.
No, absolutely. Own that.
Own it, yeah, because they're saying, oh, you're afraid of the people voting on it. Well, Democrats didn't want you to vote on this change.
Right.
So, that goes both ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think what we need to say that we admit to being afraid of is the idea of Democrats tricking voters.
Right.
Because they've done it before.
Yeah, exactly. All right, 314-912-1019. By the way, this is a Flashback Friday, everybody.
Oh,
Remember, we've got the opening theme right now, but What did you request? I don't even know what you requested. Stell knows what you requested.
There were quite a few requests, and obviously we won't get to every single one today.
That's okay. Get them in early.
So we'll save them up for subsequent weeks, but we do have a bunch of them today.
Nice.
Awesome.
And if there's anything you want to hear on the 80s Flashback Friday bump music, let us know on social media. I'm watching Rumble. Gabe and Stell are watching all of the others. So let us know. All right, still ahead, the cell phone signal thing. Yeah, okay, so it sounds like the answer may be pretty simple, but the questions across the country, the way people are reacting to this, I find fascinating. We'll get you an update on that right around 6:20 here, 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your Chretien.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Missouri Wild Alchemy is a local and family-owned business dedicated to providing consumers with high-quality cannabis and education. They strive to make customers feel comfortable and to help curtail the stigma of cannabis use by having a professional and well-educated staff. They're proud to carry products from several Missouri cultivators and manufacturers. Missouri Wild Alchemy, now serving recreational customers 21 and above, as well as patients. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram, or visit MissouriWild.com. That's MissouriWild.com.
Katie here, and I'd like to talk to you guys about Michael's Flooring Outlet. You could gain peace of mind with Michael's Flooring Outlet for your flooring and carpet installation needs. Their team of experts ensures that the job is done right the first time, providing you with attentive and a personalized service. Just like my parents, you can trust them to replace your old carpet with beautiful hardwood flooring. Visit one of their 3 locations in Dardenne Prairie, St. Peters, or Creve Coeur, or check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
Staff Sergeant Mark Anthony Madrid.
Staff Sergeant Samantha Cowell.
I'm Staff Sergeant Alex
Staff Sergeant William Lewis, and I am proud to defend my family and our nation.
The Air Force Reserve is part of the story of this great nation.
I'm grateful that I have a chance to wear the uniform of the heroes that went before me.
I'm proud to be part of a team that helps make a difference in the world.
Every day, men and women from communities across this nation serve as reserve citizen airmen. Even as technology evolves and changes, our commitment to defend and protect this nation remains steadfast. We celebrate those who have served and those who are proudly serving. We celebrate our proud history and look towards an exciting and uniting future. Our mission is to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace.
And I am proud to be a member.
And I'm proud to serve in the United States.
And I am proud to protect our country.
Proud to serve in the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Tune in to us at 8 p.m. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
Step right up and don't be shy. Because you will not.
Cell phone service is back up around the country.
Yay.
So what the heck happened? Bigger question. Did we just collectively get reminded of what can happen when technology fails us?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I think is really interesting because you know what? Outages happen. We've all had situations where our phones, die out or there's a disruption or the internet goes out or
You
something
leave it at
like
home.
that. Yeah, I mean, it happens. It's not but there was something about this. I mean, U.S. senators and media pundits, and of course it takes about 2 minutes for conspiracy theorists to run with anything. But I do think that for some reason the news of this really kind of not really shook people, but made people do a double take.
I would dare say that they are shook by this.
And it wasn't that big of a disruption overall. I mean, when you look at the size and the comparison, it wasn't that big of a disruption, but for some reason, people are like, what? Whoa.
Yeah.
What would happen if?
Yeah, in the grand scheme, it's not a big deal. But maybe it's the fact of where it happened, because it's one thing for these things to be concentrated in the big cities. Like you always expect, okay, if something were to happen, it's going to be worse in those places. This was all through the Midwest and the South,
right?
So maybe it kind of changed our perspective on how vulnerable we are, even in the middle of the country.
And you also had quirky stuff happen. Kathy said that she had a friend who had different situations in the same family where one person had no problems at all.
Mm-hmm.
Both had the same cell service, by the way. I think they both had AT&T. One had no problem with the service. The other one got the SOS. And
interesting.
And got screwed up. And Don on YouTube mentioned the same thing where he had a situation with one member of the family had service uninterrupted, no problem. The other person had the SOS symbol and wound up getting shut down.
I saw a Babylon Bee headline today. It said AT&T customers unaware of the outage because they can't find a signal anyway most of the time. I was like, ouch.
Shots fired.
Man. All right. Okay, so AT&T posted an update on Thursday saying the company they say it was not a cyber attack.
Okay.
That what they say is, and I'm quoting here, based on our initial review, we believe that today's outage was caused by the application and execution of an incorrect process used as we were expanding our network, not a cyber attack. We are continuing our assessment of today's outage to ensure we keep delivering the service that our customers deserve. And that was the official company statement. But that's really all that they've said.
Yeah.
On it. So, I mean, granted, I'm sure they don't want to get into proprietary stuff. And my gut, reaction says, okay, if it was a technical glitch, they don't want to admit human error. They don't want to, I mean, okay, I am willing to take that at face value on this, because to me, the reaction to this is far more interesting to this. You know what? Human error, technical error, coding error, whatever. If that's what it was, that's what it was. If it was something else, if it turned out to be a cyber attack or something like that, then yeah, we need to know that, because we need to know how vulnerable we are. But we don't have to be just vulnerable to something like a cyber. I can't wait to hear what Stell's about to say here. He's like,
he's waiting.
He's itching to say something. We're not just vulnerable to a cyber attack. We're vulnerable to technology failures as well.
So you don't think it was someone with a fat finger who hit the wrong key?
It absolutely could be that, and that's the scary part, because it literally could be. I mean,
you hit the wrong button.
911 went down in some areas, and people couldn't call. There could have been emergencies because possibly some fat nerd dropped a Cheeto in the wrong spot on the keyboard.
I spilled coffee. Oh, golly.
It sounds like there was basically like if on your laptop you get one of those software updates or something like that, but then it messes up and it gives you the blue screen of death. Mm-hmm. That sounds like what happened.
Yeah,
it's like they were just doing a software update. It's like, okay, we're going to expand your capabilities. Nothing.
Well, and it's not like you can go, all right, turn the network off and turn it on, jiggle the handle a little bit.
Actually, I think that's probably
what they did.
They rebooted the system.
And then you had odd coincidences happen. I had a friend of mine who's a meteorologist in Tulsa. Post that there was a solar flare at about 2:35, 2:37 in the morning. And all this stuff began around 2:50 to 3 a.m. Central Time. And his conjecture was, well, maybe this solar flare had something to do with it. It was an X flare, and it's possible that it did affect telecommunications. So I thought, well, you know what? I'll look into it a little bit. So I did kind of a deep dive, not as much as you would do, Gabe, but I did a cursory look to see what the deal is with the X stuff regarding flares. And the one yesterday morning was a 1.4. So a 1.4, to be honest with you, is very minimal.
Pretty mild.
The last one that really affected a lot of telecommunications, from what I read, was around 2003. That was an X40 plus flare, and that one caused a lot of issues. So my thought was, well, you know what? This one probably wasn't it. Might have snazzed up the Northern Lights last night and made stuff look really cool. But a 1.4 is very minimal. So I'm going to discard that theory because it just didn't seem like that would be enough to really affect anything.
So the human error or technical glitch literally is the most realistic one that happened.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, I try to be skeptical of everything, but I'm like, that makes the most sense.
Yes.
And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, well, it was an annoyance to a lot of people. Unfortunately, there were 911 services that were knocked out for a while, for a short time.
Yeah.
That's really bad.
That's scary.
Now, I haven't heard that there's any injuries or fatalities or anything because they couldn't call 911 or anything like that. Of course, calling 911 in the city of St. Louis may not do you
Doesn't matter
anyway, because there's
nobody's listening.
The city's being sued for that one. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit as well. But with this right here, I just find it. Even Marco Rubio is tweeting about this, and people are being reminded how we are dependent on things that we have no control over. We pay to access them, but we don't have any control over them. And so I think that has been more fascinating. And a little bit later on, because I was telling Rachel about our conversation, and you referring to me as prepper curious.
Yeah.
She's like, I can hear Gabe's voice saying that. I'm starting to think this is a little more quietly mainstream than people realize.
Oh, absolutely.
Or than people will admit to this. So I just think that the reaction to this, which also shows that there is not much confidence in our country's institutions when it comes to public safety, when it comes to infrastructure. There is a lot of distrust overall. And so when something relatively small like this happens, people are kind of taking it to the larger, what would happen if this were 10 times worse? Because, man, that could happen. And it could happen. And I actually don't think it's bad that people are kind of hyperbolizing it at this point, because I think there's a lot of people who are going to be saying, well, what would I need to do to protect myself and my family in case some corporate giant, has a major meltdown, or they get a cyber attack, or some Eastern European, hackers, or, George Soros buys up another communications thing and shuts it down, and, whatever the case is. And so I think a lot of people actually are taking a healthy, skeptical look at this.
Yeah, I think we're sorry.
No, go ahead.
We're a product of our experiences, right? Individually, and I think socially and culturally. And we're the generation who we're shaped very much by 9/11 on some levels. Something happens in one city and it can disrupt everything, right? And then you have all of the problems that we've seen with grids going down, with cyber attacks stopping that pipeline.
Pipeline,
So the accumulation of all of these potential quote unquote hiccups in the way, these disruptions in the way that we live our lives, I think now has kind of gotten us to the point where it's like, what? I am really vulnerable. We are individually and collectively very vulnerable to these types of disruptions, and we need to be prepared for them.
Kathy had another friend yesterday who mentioned that her husband, I think, was in Memphis yesterday, and she needed to not only contact him, but take care of some financial stuff online. She couldn't do either one of them. So she was stuck. And I think by about maybe around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, service came back and she was okay. But boy, for that 6 or 7 hour period there, she was pretty much on edge. I can't get a hold of him. I can't get in to do some financial stuff. So pretty tough situation.
I think the only time I experienced anything like this is a credit union, the credit union that I used years ago. They put out a notice, and I guess either I didn't see it or I saw it and I forgot. And they said from this hour to this hour, our online banking is going to be down because we're upgrading the whole system. So they told us and they warned us. And unfortunately, it was like during the day, which was weird. And either I didn't see it or I forgot. And I go to the store and I need to make a purchase of like $100 some odd bucks. And a card's getting declined. I'm like, I have money. And so I call there, and of course it's like a,
automated thing.
It's like, no, it's not. This was a credit union where I would actually call and they would know, who you are.
Okay.
Now that branch has been closed since then, but I called and I'm like, hey, my account number, like, yeah, Mike, we know. And cause it was not a huge town. And I said, I'm trying to buy something at Walmart, and it's not. They're like, Mike, we told everybody the thing's down. It'll be back up in like 30 minutes. And it was funny because I'm like, I'm supposed to be the customer, and they're supposed to like scramble to make me happy. And she was chastised. She's like, we told you. Do you not read your emails, dude?
I wonder how many calls she got prior to
I
you.
was going to say, I wasn't the first one, because she was like this close to
done.
cussing at the customers.
She was
like, what more do we need to do to tell you this. Oh, good Lord. Okay, by the way, weekend programming here on News Talk STL, because we are number one for live and local conservative talk. The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter, Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock. Basically, think of a mayhem circus that's focused on conservatism and life, and that's kind of what is going to happen when you listen to Todd. It is a show like no other, and it's a blast. Check that out. All right, City of St. Louis being sued for not getting an ambulance to an emergency scene fast enough. Yep, somebody died. I obviously see this from a personal perspective. Should the city be liable because they didn't get the ambulance there? I'll tell you what happened. Maybe. We'll talk about that around 6:35 here on this Flashback Friday on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Enjoy the tubes, and she's a beauty.
Yep.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Well, some weather whiplash heading into the weekend, but today looks good. Sunshine in control, up to 62, turning breezy as winds go westerly and gust up to 25 miles per hour. Quick cold front slides through tonight, maybe a stray sprinkle, but we're basically dry, down to 34 early Saturday. It's quite a bit cooler tomorrow. Saturday's high 48 with some sunshine. Mostly sunny Sunday and another quick warm up. We start the day near 40. We top out at 70 Sunday afternoon. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there is a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency, we're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. These pills work for men and women to improve their sexual performance. And now for the price of 2 or 3 pills, you can get nearly 100. There's no need to pay expensive prices for Viagra or Cialis. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Change your life for the better and have fun. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. That's 800-631-2030.
The Vic Borselli Show.
Spending in Missouri is out of control. It's not getting better. As a matter of fact, it's getting worse. We'll talk with Show Me Institute CEO Brenda Talent Friday at 9:05.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
All right, the city's being sued over another failure to respond to an emergency. This is a really weird situation here. We're talking about that. Should the city be sued over this? Because, here's the thing is, a lot of people realize that we talk about this in Second Amendment circles a lot. When you call 911, there's actually no legal responsibility for police to show up and protect you.
They're not obligated.
They're not obligated to.
No. And they're not necessarily even on the clock. To get there. It's like, hey, you have to get here within a certain period of time or else.
No.
Nope.
They're not even obligated to make an attempt.
Right. That's true.
So, but what happens when there's a medical emergency? In this case, it was a wreck. I'll get to that here in just a second here. By the way, News Talk STL, I just mentioned Todd Showalter on Saturday afternoons, Sunday afternoons. Get Mark McCloskey's hot takes every weekend. Mark McCloskey on fire Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock. Oh, man. Yeah. Talk about hot takes.
Yeah.
We've got other stations around the country like, hey, can we put this Mark McCloskey show on the air? We're like, sure.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, but he's right here in St. Louis, man.
Mm-hmm. He's our boy.
All right, it is 6:36 right now. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here in studio. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Stel Ponticus here as well. All right, the city of St. Louis being sued over the failure of an ambulance to respond to a crash. Okay, so let me give you the basic details here. And obviously, so this hits me a little personally, which I'll remind everybody why in a minute. And for those of you who are new to the show, I'll just kind of tell you the story. If you didn't see it, frankly, on channel, I think it was Channel 5 that did the story on it. So what happened was the lawsuit stems from a situation in 2021 because there have been multiple lawsuits over this.
Yep.
Rodney LaRue was the name of the guy who was riding what's called a motorized scooter. So I'm assuming it's kind of those moped type things.
Yeah.
Yep. And he was hit by a car that was made a bad turn. So it was an accident, but the driver of the car was at fault and hit him over at Arsenal and Ivanhoe. So that area. Which actually is not too far from me. And so he was in bad shape. And so they called 911. Police were there within minutes. They called for the ambulance.
You know where it is? It's by Tower Grove Park.
Yeah, it is.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it hit me. Whoa, that's by the park.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here.
Yep. Yes, Randy, we know. Okay.
Take it easy, Randy.
Sorry.
So here's what happened is they called for the ambulance. And the ambulance was on the way. And then somebody threw a rock at the ambulance and hit it bad enough to dent something. And the paramedics pulled over and stopped.
Okay.
I guess to assess the damage or to call it in and start a report. There was nothing wrong with the rest of the ambulance.
Oh, so they could have continued.
Yeah. And so after 29 minutes, they were ordered, get to the scene. And so it took 38 minutes to get there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, guess what happened?
Died.
He died.
Mm-hmm.
They got there. They got him to the hospital. They were trying to do surgeries, and he died. Nobody also understands why another ambulance wasn't dispatched. So when they went out of service, or not out of service, but when they stopped, why didn't somebody say, okay, send the other one?
Sure.
Even if it was from South City, even if it was from downtown or somewhere, send something.
In my head, I don't know. Maybe it's just against protocol or whatever. But why not deal with that after?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like basically do a triage of the situation. Okay, which one is more important? Which one's more time sensitive?
Yeah.
If the rock didn't damage something important to you actually executing your job or getting where you need to go, why stop and take a report and do all that garbage?
And that's the subject of the lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the driver of the car has already been sued and been ordered to pay a whole bunch of money to the family, and that's a separate lawsuit. But in this case right here, is the city, liable? Now, this is 2021, so this is well before the situation that I witnessed firsthand. For those of you who are new to the show, there was a story you may have heard about the baseball player who collapsed on the field at Forest Park. Well, that was one of my teammates. I was there. I was one of the guys working on him, trying to save him. It took them over 30 minutes to get to there, and he died. Brian died, right there on the field. And so we saw this because it took so far. And then I got a call from Christine over at Channel 5, and they were following up on this and other situations where it was taking a really long time for emergency services, particularly fire and ambulances, to get to the scenes. Because remember, there was the other case during that storm where the tree fell on the car and nobody responded for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, the neighbors were live streaming, get somebody over here, and eventually the woman in the car was crushed when they're arguing. If somebody gotten there, they could have gotten there. Now, we don't know if Brian would have made it or not because it turns out, he had a cardiac issue.
Mm-hmm.
That may have happened anywhere that he was, but we'll never know. In this case, it took almost 40 minutes to get an ambulance to a scene of a car wreck where a car basically was run over and they didn't have a chance to save him.
Yeah.
So in that situation, if you're in the city, whether you live in the city or just in the city, if you get hurt, because we were told on the phone with 911, stay there, help's on the way, don't move him.
Right.
Are you better off just going, I don't trust him, I'm going to the hospital?
Right.
Or do you follow the instructions and stay there until medical help arrives? What do you do if you're in the city?
All of this this consternation lately between the people of the city of St. Louis and its emergency services, I think, is kind of bringing to light the reality of the legal situation, the relationship between us and our emergency services. You know, like you said, they're not obligated necessarily by law to do certain things, but you know, we are essentially told that we are obligated to follow their instructions, to get out of their way when they're moving, down the street, to do all these things. You know, we have this relationship where, you know, they're telling us we're the experts, we're going to come save you, but then there's no guarantee of that. It's like I don't like this situation. I think people are kind of becoming privy to that. It's like wait a minute. We've given you a measure of power to do these things because we want you to save us, and now you're saying you won't or you can't.
Right. Well, here's the thing: is if this accident, I mean, if you're in a wreck, God forbid, you're in a wreck, somebody's hurt really bad, you or your family or somebody is hurt really bad, and it happens in St. Charles, and they say stay put, the ambulance is on the way, versus you're in Tower Grove or you're in the city, you're in the Central West End, and they say stay put,
right?
Help is on the way. You've got completely different mindsets as to whether or not you trust that. If you're in Chesterfield, if you're in Clayton, if you're in if you're in Eureka, I mean, if you're in any of these places, you're in Jefferson County. If you in any of those areas, you're like, okay, thank goodness, help's on the way. If you're in the city of St. Louis, you're wondering, is help really on the way?
I imagine you used to be able to think that way in St. Louis, that, oh, yes, help is on the way, I'll wait here, right? I mean, it wasn't always this bad.
Right.
So, yeah.
By the way, let me correct the location. I was wrong. It's not by Tower Grove Park. It's off of 44 near Jameson.
Right. Yeah.
Arsenal and Ivanhoe right around in there.
That's because that's actually pretty close to where I am.
It is kind of close to you.
It's close.
Still, you have to say it right. It's farty far.
Farty far.
Yeah.
Farty far. So that's part of that. This is what happens when you don't run a city well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can talk about wasteful spending. You talk about potholes. We've talked about trash building up. People are dying.
Now, question. We know that kind of the simple answer to fix this is, well, get better. Do better at your job, because like you said, there are other areas that are just fine. You know, the way they execute their usage of their emergency services. Is there a legal governmental aspect to the get better that we actually ought to explore?
I don't know. I mean, so is it an internal culture or is it a policy thing?
Right.
Because I mean,
or do we need the policy thing to ensure the culture exists?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like, if we do make them liable for some period of time, you have 12 minutes to get there, or else you are open to lawsuit or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where we have to go in order to force them to get back to where we used to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, of course, emergency services providers are going to say there are a million things that could get in the way between here and there.
It's true.
In this particular case, they simply made a choice that didn't need to be made.
Yeah.
So does that mean the taxpayers insurance is going to be on the hook? Yeah, there'll be some kind of settlement, I'm sure.
Sure.
If nothing else, because it's easier to settle than to go to court on these things. But when you look at even the basic details, that family has a really strong case.
Oh, absolutely.
With it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I look at this and say, if I start feeling the signs of some medical emergency, or I get hit by another car or something, I don't know that I'm waiting in the city of St. Louis. Now, when the paramedics get there, I'm sure that they are the experts and they're going to do a good job.
Sure.
When the firefighters get there, but the question is, how long is it going to be until they get there?
Yeah, if they get there.
Right.
Gosh.
All right, let's dump some news on you just ahead here. By the way, 7:05, we've got Representative Blaine Wilhour from Illinois. Been a while since Blaine's been on the show. Governor Pritzker gave his State of the State address. The guy who wants to be president spent a lot of time talking about the national issues and why Illinois taxpayers ought to be paying to help out the illegal immigrants.
Oh, gosh.
But he wasn't really saying a lot about protecting taxpayers. So we'll get Blaine's perspective on that in about 20 minutes.
He spent a lot of time telling us how he was going to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of money. And by the way, that creates a budget deficit. So we really need to raise taxes. Don't be selfish. Don't be greedy. Jeez. Still ahead here. 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. How about a little Tears for Fears on this Flashback Friday?
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. News Talk STL.
Texas Governor Abbott writing on social media that he will, quote, hold the line.
It's a powder keg. We've had tens of thousands of people that were declared a national security risk that came across our border.
Representative Bush
is related to allegations of improperly spending federal security money.
The Federal Election Commission and the House Committee on Ethics are currently reviewing the matter.
News, analysis, and opinion.
3 Americans killed in a drone attack.
Why are our troops there if they can't defend themselves?
1019 and 94.1.
I want to thank everybody.
News Talk STL.
You ever have that friend that you know you can go to with the answers? You know, they're an expert in something and you know they have your best interest at heart. And so you call them up when you have a question about your car, or you call them up when you have a question about your finances or investments or something along those lines. I just described Rodney and Jen Walner to you. Mike Ferguson here for the Walner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. And when it comes to anything related to real estate, you're buying, you're selling, you're looking to move, you're looking to upsize, downsize, get into that other school district, you need that person who you can trust, who really knows what they're talking about. Well, that's Rodney and Jen. 314-810-SOLD. Here's my challenge to you. If you're even remotely thinking about making some kind of real estate transaction at all, because for most people, this is the largest investment you're going to make, the largest purchase you're going to make, the largest risk you're ever going to take financially. So call them at 314-810-SOLD. Listen, no obligation. They're not going to make you sign a bunch of contracts just to give you some advice or hear you out. Call them. That's literally their cell number. When I call Rodney and Jen, that's the number I call, 314-810-SOLD. Said, hey, Mike was talking about you on the radio. Here's my situation. Give me your initial thoughts. They will. Now, what Rodney and Jen will do is say, here's our initial impression. Give me your number. Let me call you back. I'm going to do a little bit of information pulling so they get you the right information. And what you're going to find with Rodney and Jen, they're a lot like that good friend of yours who's an expert in some field, and you know you can trust them, and you know they've got your best interest at heart, because that's Rodney and Jen. That's who they are. That's what they do. That's why they've been so successful, selling upwards of 15 times more homes than other real estate professionals in St. Louis. They're licensed in both Missouri and and Illinois, by the way. So regardless of which side of the state line you're on, they can work with you. And if you're selling, you may not even need to list your home, even in this environment, even with all of these high interest rates. You may not even need to list their home because they have so many pre-approved, qualified buyers looking for homes just like yours. You may be able to get it sold without going through the hassle of putting it on the market. That's what Rodney and Jen bring to the table. But what they really bring to the table is they've got that market knowledge, they've got that expertise, and they've got that heart for the people whom they serve. These are good people who happen to be the best at what they do. That is the perfect combination to give you and your family the empowerment you need to make the right decision. So call them today. Tell them you heard Mike talking about them. 314-810-SOLD.
Thanks for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Radio news junkie. Love every bit about it.
News Talk STL.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, this is Rob Carter. Join me weeknights at 8 p.m. as I challenge our politicians, expose the political press, and analyze pop culture. It's the Rob Carter Show, weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. here on News Talk STL. Now let's get back to the best men's league over 40 backstop in St. Louis. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Had a listener suggest this because spring training's underway.
Heck yeah, boys of summer. This is Don Henley's solo. This is part of his solo career.
It is, yeah. Mid-'80s, around 84.
Isn't there some lawsuit now with some of the Eagles, like lyrics?
I saw something the other day. Did you see that, Gabe? There was something that had to do with
Hotel
California.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's like either it's the intellectual property of the lyrics or it's like some physical copies of it. Where it's some kind of property thing. It's really interesting, really weird what's going on there. All right, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker sure likes his huge, expensive government and seemed to focus on national issues this week during his State of the State address. We got the update from the Illinois Freedom Caucus at 7:05. Got the response to that. By the way, a little fun fact about me. I really liked Don Henley's solo. I mean, I love the Eagles. Don't get me wrong. I love the Eagles. But Don Henley's solo stuff, really good. My senior year, when I went in to have senior pictures, I had this photographer in Quincy, Illinois. He's like, bring whatever music you want. That was his thing to like make the. I took Don Henley's End of the Innocence album.
Oh yeah,
Mike,
very good album.
Cassette. We blasted that while we did the senior pictures photo shoot there. All right. Okay.
Did you want to hear that story about the lyrics, by the way? Because I just pulled it up.
Yeah. What's
weird.
going on with it? Yeah.
Okay. So the Eagles manager. Let's see. Hold on. The Hotel California lyrics trial reveals Eagles manager cited Henley in the thing. Sorry. Let me skip to the good part. The issue appears to be that there are 3 collectibles experts who are charged with conspiring to hang on to and sell sheets of handwritten draft lyrics to Hotel California. And I guess that's what's at issue right now.
Got it.
And there's a phone call that's just been revealed that's now it's a big deal and I don't think it's settled just yet.
Okay.
There was a previous settlement with a Mexican hotel chain that wanted to name themselves Hotel California.
Oh, got it. By the way, Jay Monty recommends for a future Flashback Friday, speaking of Don Henley, Dirty Laundry.
Oh yeah.
Love a song that takes on the media. All right. Okay, let's see here. Some news is happening. Initiative petition reform, 1/3 of the way to getting done in Missouri. State Senate approved a referendum question that adds to the requirement of a majority vote. So here's the breakdown. If this referendum passes, then future efforts to amend the state constitution will require both a majority vote statewide and a majority vote within at least 5 of the state's 8 congressional districts. Of course, the media says Republicans are making it harder to amend the state's constitution. Yes, we are. They are. I'm not, in a party, but yes, and rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
The measure now goes to the state house. If approved there, then the voters will have the final say. So getting it through the House is one thing. Getting it through the Senate is another thing. Getting it to voters who are going to be absolutely dealing with an onslaught of biased media and leftism against it means we need to start warming people up to the idea right now.
So often it's the difference between the way you read a headline is kind of the difference in ideologies, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, hey, Republicans are trying to make it more difficult to amend the Constitution. And we're all like, yeah.
Yay!
And then they're like, Republicans are trying to make it more difficult to amend the Constitution. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
You're right.
That's the only difference.
Yep.
Is how
It
you
is.
read the information. It's like we are really living in different worlds from them.
We are totally.
It's kind of crazy.
Absolutely. Okay. President Biden, of course, earlier this week announcing another $1 billion in student loan cancellations. He was really proud about that. Senator Eric Schmidt was on with Laura Ingraham last night on Fox responding to it.
It's a slap in the face to working America, to middle-class families, to the people that paid back their student loans, the people who made different life decisions or decided not to take out loans or work their way through college. I mean, it's totally ridiculous. And he's at it again, and he's at a cynical ploy here to try to buy votes.
Okay, so here's the thing is if you go up to some, centrist or center left-leaning 20-something voter and you say, he's just trying to buy your vote, they'll probably shrug and go, yeah, and it's for sale.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to cancel my student loan debt of, $30, $40, $50, $60,000, then you got it. It's for sale. So I don't even know that us, saying we're calling out their buying votes, I don't think they care. It's just that naked.
It's the same thing. Hey, the Democrats are trying to buy votes.
Yeah.
Hey, the Democrats are buying votes.
Yep.
You just read it differently. By the way, Babylon B says, gender studies grad writes thank you in latte for plumber who paid for her student loans.
Nice. All right, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker gave a State of the State address this week. We're going to talk about this in more depth here in about 10 minutes. As you would expect, it's a lot of very big government. Republican State Representative Patrick Windhorst responds to the speech from the Capitol.
He proposed a budget that is going to be record spending and also be in a deficit of about $700 million. We've been warning that this would happen as Republicans, as we've seen spending increase year after year, and now we're going to see tax increases to help balance that budget. We should address the issues here in the state of Illinois. We should be spending money on our citizens and not focused on the immigration crisis. That needs to be solved at the national level, and we need to deal with the issues here in Illinois.
State Representative Blaine Wilhour is going to be with us at 7:05, guys. Okay, Blues wrap up their homestand on a really good note. They shut the Islanders out last night. Final score at Enterprise was 4-0. Today's a travel day. Blues have the NHL's early game tomorrow. They play the Red Wings in Detroit. Puck drops at 11 a.m. for that one. A couple of notes on the Cardinals. Cardinals start spring training play tomorrow. Split squad games, plural.
Okay, what does that mean?
Part of the team is going to host the Marlins there in Jupiter, and then another part of the team is going to drive down to where the Mets play and play the Mets.
Okay.
So basically two versions of the Cardinals. They're just going to split the team and have them go play a couple of games.
Wow.
If you want to see the home game against the Marlins, Bally Sports Midwest has that game. If you want to watch the other one against the Mets, MLB TV has that game if you want to watch that. So if you want to see guys who literally got to camp less than 3 days ago start their first game,
Oh, wow.
there it is. And Uncle Charlie announces that he gets to play on country music's legendary stage on March 9th. Adam Wainwright will perform at the Grand Ole Opry.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wainwright's first single, which was performed at Busch Stadium
Yeah, I remember
last
that,
season.
yeah.
It's as of today officially available and for sale. The song is called Time to Fly.
Congratulations to everyone at Connor Roofing. We chose the Connor Roofing team for our National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction without telling anyone at Connor Roofing, based on over 30 years of fantastic customer reviews. Rob and Kathy Connor and their team deliver very high quality roofing, siding, gutters, storm damage restoration at a fair price with integrity. Connor Roofing has had an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau for years. Count on Connor. For an estimate, please visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
There's a ghost in my house. The ghost of your memory.
Hi, this is Ron Clutho. Join me for Groovy Grooves every Saturday to hear songs like this and memories that will take you back to a groovier place and time. Be sure to check out the playlist at newstalkstl.com for more Groovy Grooves.
And now for something completely different.
Groovy Grooves with Ron Clutho, Saturday nights at 10 on News Talk STL.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Former President Trump holding on to a big lead in the polls heading into tomorrow's Republican primary in challenger Nikki Haley's home state of South Carolina. New York's Attorney General, who had threatened during her election campaign to get Donald Trump, now threatens to seize Mr. Trump's New York City properties. Letitia James threatens the seizure if the former president can't pay a staggering $454 million civil fraud penalty. President Biden has met with the widow and daughter of the late Russian dissident, Alexei Navalny.
As to state the obvious, he was a man of incredible courage. And it's amazing how his wife and daughter are emulating that.
The meeting took place in San Francisco. Israel's parliament, the Knesset, voting overwhelmingly against unilateral recognition of a Palestinian state. Meanwhile, international efforts to broker a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas appear to be gaining new momentum.
The new signs of progress came ahead of an expected summit this weekend in Paris, where mediators plan to present a new proposal. White House Mideast envoy Brett McGurk held talks throughout the day Thursday with Israeli leaders and families of Israeli hostages held by Hamas. According to National Security spokesman John Kirby, the discussions were going well.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston. Despite being tied down by multiple legal challenges, former President Trump continues traveling the campaign trail. Last evening, he addressed the National Religious Broadcasters Gathering in Nashville. Tomorrow, he's due to speak at CPAC, the annual Conservative Political Action Conference taking place outside Washington, D.C. Following yesterday's big gains, Wall Street futures have been mixed so far this morning. The Dow futures 54 points higher, NASDAQ futures down 7 points. The S&P futures are up 3 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Retirement outlook.
If your retirement account is mostly stocks or bonds, listen closely. The future of your savings may be more uncertain than ever before. Hi, I'm Paul Stone, CEO of Colonial Metals. The sad truth is, our government continues to eat away at our freedoms and security. In economic times like these, run around the flagpole by lunatics in Washington, I look to the most trusted store of wealth in human history, physical gold and silver that you own. At Colonial Metals, we specialize in helping folks with IRAs and 401ks and other retirement accounts move their savings into physical gold and silver. If you'd like a free gold investment kit, give us a call today at 820-800-8000. My team is standing by ready to rush a free gold investment kit to you. You may also qualify for $7,500 in free silver and a free safe. Call 820-800-8000 now. That's 820-800-8000.
Colonial Metals is not a financial advisor. Consult with your advisor before investing.
That's 8.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Well, some weather whiplash heading into the weekend, but today looks good. Sunshine in control, up to 62, turning breezy as winds go westerly and gust up to 25 miles per hour. Quick cold front slides through tonight, maybe a stray sprinkle, but we're basically dry, down to 34 early Saturday. It's quite a bit cooler tomorrow. Saturday's high 48 with some sunshine. Mostly sunny Sunday and another quick warm up. We start the day near 40. We top out at 70 Sunday afternoon. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
It's a new year, so come check out the great financing offers going on now at Seavers JCB. Rates as low as 0.99% on nearly all JCB compact construction equipment, including the industry-leading JCB Teleskid. For details, go to SeaversJCB.com. Mini excavators, track loaders, small wheel loaders, and even the industry-leading JCB compact load all range. Seavers JCB has them all. Visit SeaversJCB.com for more information.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare ya!
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! This is your cousin
All right, stop me if you've heard this one before.
All right.
J.B. Pritzker sure loves him some big, massive government that costs a lot of money.
Yes, I have heard that
Okay,
before.
You've heard that one before. All right, he gives his State of the State address this week, and as you would expect, all the stuff that's going wrong with Illinois, he says, let's double down on that. Let's triple down on that. He wants to dig into the bad stuff like it is a massive all-you-can-eat buffet.
Big dollar signs.
Did I say that out loud? All right.
A buffet.
7:06 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. Hey, don't forget News Talk STL streaming app, so you can take us anywhere you want for free. Just download it on your phone. That way you can Bluetooth in your car, or you can just take us anywhere you want. All right. Joined now by State Representative Blaine Wilhour. And Blaine, been a while since you've been on the show. Good to chat with you again. Now, of course, part of the Illinois Freedom Caucus. So you are part of the minority that's trying to hold back the onslaught that is the hard left in Illinois and J.B. Pritzker. Are you one of the doom grifters that J.B. Pritzker was warning us all about?
I think that I probably am. I'll take that with pride coming from him. At least he came up with new terminology. It's been he's been calling us carnival barkers for the last few years, and I guess that one got old. But yeah, J.B. Pritzker literally quoted a Democrat KKK member. He mocked Christianity and clearly cares more about illegal immigrants than he does about citizens of the state of Illinois. So that pretty much sums up his budget address, and $1 billion in new taxes and fees for the good citizens of the state of Illinois. But everything's looking rosy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but other than that, it was fine, right? Yeah, I mean, but let's talk. I mean, we're talking about what, a $740 million shortfall in what he was recommending as far as the spending goes, and then to address the shortfall, am I hearing this right that he says, well, we just got to raise some taxes somewhere? I mean, my God, how many businesses and people are fleeing your state to avoid exactly what he says he wants to raise?
That's exactly right. You know, he brags about the state of the economy, but we're doing nothing to, actually attract investment here, and increasing taxes on a state that's either one or two, and highest state and local taxes in the country is certainly not the answer. We need to be going the other way. But it's really hard to do that when you're spending upwards of at least $4 billion a year on illegal immigrants because of your ridiculous sanctuary state policy.
Good morning, Blaine. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So tell us a little bit more about the illegal immigrants program. So what is it exactly that they're trying to do?
Yeah, because he doubled down on it.
Right. Yeah, he definitely doubled down on it. And number one, he, one of the quotes that he had in there, he was talking about, how this is all Texas's fault, and they're sending these people up here. He said, we didn't ask for this, although he's literally got emergency orders out there that specifically say we welcome you. So it's kind of hard to say you didn't ask for it when you got that. And he said, think about that the next time a politician from Texas wants to lecture you about being a good Christian. And, I, for one, have no stomach for being lectured about faith by somebody like J.B. Pritzker, who is abortion on demand, wants to trans your kids, and, constantly mocks our values here. But, we are a sanctuary state. Unfortunately, Chicago is a sanctuary city. They're kind of regretting it now, but not regretting it enough to, change their political narrative. But, a couple of years ago, we basically gave what they said at the time was free health care to a certain segment of illegal immigrants. They said it was going to cost somewhere about, it's just a really small thing. It's like $2 million or something like that. Well, a couple months later, it became $20 million, and by the end of the year, it was over $200 million. And that was just the beginning. It's estimated that we're spending at least $4 billion on free health care for illegal immigrants, among other things. And seniors in our state can't afford the prescriptions. Their health care sucks. And, we've got some of the most oppressive, taxation in the country. We can't take care of our own citizens. We have no business taking care of, trying to take care of illegal immigrants. The city of Chicago says they told the governor that they can't handle it. And, in fact, they should be building these migrant shelters outside of the city. And that's where the rubber hits the road for us. That's not going to happen, not in our communities. If Chicago can't afford it, we certainly can't. And we're not going to raise our taxes to pay for their ridiculous policies.
All right, I just want to point out, it just dawned on me that Doom Grifters would actually be an awesome name for a heavy metal band.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hey, we'll take it. We'll take it, man.
Hey, good morning, Blaine. Stal Ponticus here. As a native of Chicago, that whole situation is something that I've been following very closely. Are there other pockets around the state of Illinois that are also dealing with sanctuary issues besides Chicago?
Well, there's no other communities that's necessarily, to my knowledge, designated themselves as a sanctuary city, but there's been several dropped off in the suburbs and other places because the city of Chicago has got some busing ordinances and stuff now. So that's the fear. It's just a matter of time before the government starts waving around crazy money for local governments and just local people to take this stuff up. We're hearing stuff all the time about things going on downstate. So what I've been working on is having every one of my counties in my district in South Central Illinois pass ordinances or resolutions that simply states that we are not spending a single tax dollar on propping up this illegal immigration thing, not in our counties. I think it's really important that we take that stand. Local government is there for a reason. We're kind of using the same template that we did during COVID when he was, when he was putting down his tyrannical reign on everybody. So, I think our places are in pretty good hands because we're being proactive. It's how this works.
Oh, yeah. We're visiting with State Representative Blaine Wilhour with the Illinois Freedom Caucus. And Blaine, let me get into some of the other things. I mean, as far as the values nonsense that the governor was talking about in the state of the state address, he's also calling for increased taxes. And I know some of that targets, casinos and gaming and things like that. I don't think there's ever a good time to raise taxes. But when you look at how he wants to pay for what he's spending, what's the likely outcome and what's the likely result of that if he were to get what he wants?
Well, most of what they're doing are backdoor fee increases more than anything. There's not a straight up, this is like an income tax increase or something like that. And in states like ours, when they're constantly pushing down these mandates, what you get as a result is local government raising property taxes because they're pushing down mandates, but they're not funding things. And our property taxes are out of control here. But I mean, the result of it is continued depopulation of our state and some of the most productive members of our state. A lot of our smartest kids are going to SEC schools, and they're not coming back because it's, number one, it's cheaper for them to pay out of state tuition to those places than it is to go to the University of Illinois. It's completely ridiculous. Everything is upside down. And, not only are we fiscally rotten in the state, we're morally rotten. And we need major change, and we need people that are courageous enough to push for that. And one of the biggest problems is the Republican Party. They don't stand for anything, and they're scared of their own shadow. They won't even say illegal immigrant.
Oh, wow. Blaine, you mentioned one reaction to the craziness of this policy of being people leaving the state. What other sort of pushback is Pritzker getting due to all of this wild policy, which is really affecting people's lives?
It really is. We say it all the time that it's not just the conservatives that are affected by bad policy. It's everybody, and we all need to wake up. We were in the Freedom Caucus took a little field trip to Chicago last month to check out the migrant situation on our own up there, and it was, as you would expect. But what was really interesting is when we were having a roundtable with community members on the south and the west side, the African American community, and they are to say that they're not happy would be very much an understatement about what's going on. Their communities have basically been starved of opportunity because of frankly crazy public policy by the people that they send to the General Assembly, and they feel like they've been left out. And these illegal immigrants are getting a lot more rights and a lot more help than what they are. So our message has been that, hey, we're more than willing to be your voice in Springfield on this stuff, that you're going to have to start voting for some different people, some people that actually, care about your situation and care about the state of Illinois, because there's a lot of similarities between the folks that's been left behind in blue collar rural areas, and the folks that have been left behind in the inner cities. And the sooner that we figure that out and figure out how to come together, because culturally we're not really that far apart as far as faith and things of that nature. So that's kind of some of the stuff that we're working on long term, because it's going to take a new coalition, a certainly bigger coalition, to turn this thing around.
One of the reactions to the governor's State of the State address was your colleague, Representative Patrick Windhorse, who pointed out, and he focused on, and I thought this was a good observation, a lot of that speech was focused on national issues. Now that J.B. Pritzker is in his second term and he's done a whole bunch of damage, I mean, hundreds of thousands of people have left the state of Illinois. Is there talk around Springfield that this guy is really basically trying to look at Illinois as a stepping stone to something in the White House? I mean, is this guy looking for a national campaign based out of Illinois by virtue signaling to the far left base?
Oh yeah, I mean that's never been a secret with Governor Pritzker. When you got billions and billions of dollars, when you're one of the richest people in the world, you can pay people enough money around you to tell you how great you are and how you should be president. So he's been playing that card for basically the whole time he's been in office, and that's one of the big reasons why you see the extreme progressive crazy stuff, because to win a primary, you got to be the most far left person. But it was definitely a campaign speech if you look through it. I mean, he took shots at Republicans, he took shots at Trump, and he also took a little bit of a shot at California too. So that gives you a little insight into what's going on the political ground. But yeah, he's been trying to position himself for that the entire time that he's been in office. So that's definitely something. I think it's a pipe dream, but we shall see.
Well,
I hope JB runs for president. Get him out of here.
Yeah, well, I mean, and if he runs for president, then at least he's doing some running, and he can stand to do a little bit of running. I'm just saying.
And the other thing to keep in mind, Blaine, is that the Democratic convention's coming up in Chicago.
Yes, and that's going to be quite the show, especially with everything that's going on up there. I don't know if you guys have been to Chicago lately, but it's a shell of the great city that it once was. It's actually pretty depressing when you walk around, even in the downtown area. It's things are pretty dead, and crime has overtaken even the places that once it wasn't, and couple that with the illegal immigrant situation, and should be interesting.
Well, Chicago has a great history when it comes to hosting the Democratic National Convention. Oh, wait. No. All right. Blaine Wilhour. Hey, man, appreciate you being back on the show. How do we get in touch with you? People want to follow you on social media, Illinois Freedom Caucus in particular, because I want you guys to get as much support as we can possibly muster up.
Yep, the Illinois Freedom Caucus is the vanguard of sanity in Illinois. So look us up on Twitter at the Freedom Caucus. I'm on Twitter at Blaine Wilhour. I'm very active on Facebook. You can look up State Representative Blaine Wilhour. And we're in a fight here in Illinois, not only with the crazy Democrats, but the crazy Republicans that are trying to take out the Freedom Caucus members too. So,
all right,
appreciate all the support we can get.
Glad you're fighting the good fight, man. Good talk to you again. Thanks, Blaine.
You too. Thanks.
All right, 314-912-1019. Just ahead, let's also get an update on what's happening on the Missouri side. Initial petition reform, because we do have a chance to protect life. We do have a chance to protect and secure the Second Amendment rights in the state, and also just make sure that leftists can't come by state constitutional amendments and turn Missouri into what Illinois is becoming or has become. So I've got the update for you on that just ahead. Also, 7:35. What happens when education fails and people have very limited vocabularies?
Oh, boy.
Babies can end up with terrible names.
Oh, no.
I've got a story for you that you're not going to believe. Here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Indifferent. Stop it right now before you blow us all away. You wanna do that? Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
What are you waiting for? Get up.
Columbo and Katie.
Chicago residents blast their city officials over the migrant crisis. We'll discuss this on Friday with Gabe Pfeiffer and Ken Williams and get that weekend weather forecast with Steve Templeton.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Sometimes you want to do something extra special for someone. Vincent's Jewelers can help you. Maybe you want to do something for yourself. Mark a date, something you accomplished. It doesn't have to be anything really expensive, but it has to mean something now and for the future. Vincent's, locally owned, just ask for the chance to work with you, as they have with me, on Olive, just east of 270. Every day, new specials at vincentsjewelers.com or Vincent's Facebook.
It's Lincoln Day in St. Charles County. This is Tim Jones inviting you to join News Talk STL and U.S. Senator Josh Hawley on Friday, March 22nd at Old Hickory Golf Club in St. Charles. Cocktails, dinner, Senator Josh Hawley, and a room full of fellow conservatives. It will be a great, fun night. Just log on to stcharlesgop.com for more details and to purchase tickets, and we'll see you there. That's Friday, March 22nd at Old Hickory Golf Club in St. Charles. stcharlesgop.com, stcharlesgop.com.
Do you or a family member have health care coverage through Missouri Medicaid or Mo Health Net? The Family Support Division is required to make sure everyone still qualifies. You may need to take action to avoid losing coverage. Check your mail for notices from the Family Support Division and visit mydss.mo.gov/renew to create an account on the new benefit portal and to check renewal dates. That's mydss.mo.gov/renew. This message is sponsored by the Missouri Department of Social Services.
This is so stupid.
St. Louis's.
Okay, I'm hanging up on you now.
Place to talk. News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. Flashback Friday, some Iron Maiden.
Heck yeah.
Wasted Years from around 86.
Yeah. Somebody suggested this, right?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, whoever suggested this. And no, it wasn't me. But thank you. All right. 7:24 here. Let's see here. Still time, and there are still ways for the establishment to kill it. But the effort to protect Missouri's Constitution and, listen, also protect life, to protect taxpayers. This takes a big step forward, but we're not there yet. Don't think just because we got past the establishment in the state Senate that it's a done deal. All right, Randy Tobler every weekend right here on News Talk STL because we're number one for live and local conservative talk. 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock every Saturday morning. Randy is live right here taking your calls. And Randy, man, he just does he's done this show for so long.
Yeah.
You know, we gave him back the 3 hours that were taken away from him somewhere else. And so he's back, man. All right, the initiative petition reform bill. Okay, so here's what's going on is that it actually passed the state Senate. So I'm going to get a little wonky for a second.
Okay.
But then let's look at the great big picture here.
Let's do the wonk.
So the wonky update is that the state Senate voted to move the initiative petition referendum to, they passed it. So now it goes to the state house. It was Republicans voted yes, Democrats voted no. Even the establishment Republicans voted yes on this. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, there were some things in there that were stripped out as part of a compromise deal. There was a thing in there that said only citizens can vote in any election in Illinois. That was stripped out. And it was dumb that was stripped out. Why would the Democrats in the establishment insist on stripping that out? Well, make up your own mind on that. But still, the raising the bar to change the state constitution has now cleared the state Senate. Now it goes to the state house. There is immense pressure on the state house to get this done. So it's under immense pressure for Dean Plocher, the Speaker of the House, who is running for statewide office, to get this done. So the best case scenario is the Republicans simply say, all right, rush it through a committee, put it on the floor. Yes, done. Best thing they can do. At that point, it would simply go to us, the voters, probably in August, would be my guess. But it would then be up to us, and then it's up to us to make sure that we turn out the vote for a yes on this.
Right.
Here's what's possibly could happen. If one word of the bill is changed in the House, one semicolon, then it has to go back to the state Senate for approval.
And the clock starts over.
And the clock starts over, and the establishment can play all the games again with it, and the Democrats can filibuster again. And so it's really important, even though there were some good things that were stripped out of this bill. I believe that we need to take what we can get.
Yes.
Put the pressure on the state house to approve it as is and get it to the voters.
Yes.
And then we've got months to make sure that conservatives and other Republicans show up in August to approve it.
Yeah, we don't have time to mess around with this thing. Now, granted, the removal of the provisions against foreign influence and non-citizen voting, those are important.
Yes.
But the danger of those things isn't quite as imminent as the danger of these two petitions that we know are already en route to voters.
Yeah, you're talking about the pro-abortion one, and there's one that they're trying to allow local communities to take away your Second Amendment rights.
Right.
So, yeah, I agree. Those are the more immediate threat. And remember, when you hear the media, when your friends, your colleagues, your coworkers, they all see these headlines, Republicans trying to make it harder to amend the state constitution, like you said, Gabe, sorry. That needs
Gabe
to
and Stell.
Gabe and Stell, yeah. And combining names is what got one family in trouble. We'll talk about it. 7:35. And so when somebody goes, well, I read that you're trying to make it harder to change a state constitution, the answer should yes. Here's why that's a good thing.
Right. Absolutely.
And here's the thing. It's not like we're getting what I think should happen. I think it should be a 2/3 vote to change the state constitution.
Gosh.
I think it should be really high.
The threshold should be really high.
All that's being added, and this is modeling after the United States Constitution. That's all that this is doing. Mary Elizabeth Coleman wrote this bill. And so all that it's doing is saying, yes, you've just got to have a simple majority statewide, which is not high enough in my opinion, but simple majority. But when you look at the 8 different congressional districts, you have to have a majority in 5 of those 8. So you have to have a majority of the congressional districts also say yes.
Right.
So what that means is that liberals, leftists cannot just concentrate on Kansas City, St. Louis, Columbia, and turn out massive blue votes with their whatever fear-mongering, lie to enough independents and moderates, and win and buy a state constitutional amendment.
Right.
So it means that if you're going to lie and buy it, you got to do it for the whole state, which is a lot harder to do.
Yeah.
And let's say Missouri grows in population and we go back to 9 congressional districts, which I remember. Well, you'd still have to get 5 of those 9 congressional districts to say yes, in addition to the simple majority. It's really not that big of a change.
No.
Other than the 2 major cities can't run the whole state anymore.
Right, and that's really what they're upset about, is because they know that those are their power strongholds, right, for liberal thinking and liberal concentration of individuals, and I think in other states they always use that the power of the city centers to run their states. We see that in Illinois. That's kind of basically what we were just talking about. Chicago runs everything. But if things had to go through multiple counties or whatever districts over in Illinois, they could actually curb the power of Chicago. So in this particular case, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that Missouri isn't just led by the nose by our Democrat cities.
Yeah, in Illinois, they know that kind of thing could be a threat. So when they did the redistricting, I mean, they gerrymandered the crap out of those districts. And so they artificially increased the Democratic representation, but still a lot of those are areas where there are enough conservatives that not everything would go through there. And you mentioned that. That's right. Chicago runs the whole state because Chicago is so freaking massive.
Right.
The rest of the state doesn't have a whole lot of say. St. Louis is dwindling as a city.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City maintaining, they're not growing as a city, but those are the two power bases, and that's where the population centers are. Those are really those and a couple of the college towns. Those are the only places that are blue in the state, but they have been able to have outsized influence. But this isn't about just making sure we block leftist stuff. This is saying there has to be a consensus.
Yeah, when people say, "Hey, the like you said, Mike, they're trying to make it harder to change the Missouri Constitution," the reply should be, "Should it be easy?"
Right. Yes.
Should it be easy to change a constitution of any sort?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. You have to explain to me why it should be easy.
Right. Correct. All right. 314-912-1019 on this Flashback Friday. By the way, you want to see the list of all the bump music that we use during the day? You can do that on the Mike Ferguson in the Morning page on News Talk STL. And Stell even finds the videos and puts those up there as well, so you can check them out right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. Just ahead here, follow up to this phone outage thing. And it was interesting. I talked to my wife about you telling me that I'm a prepper curious, which she thought was hilarious. Her reaction actually surprised me a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to tell you about that because I think that this sort of prepper-ish thought is more mainstream than what anybody's going to admit.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that just ahead here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the Morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Some weather whiplash heading into the weekend, but today looks good. Sunshine in control up to 62, turning breezy as winds go westerly and gust up to 25 miles per hour. Quick cold front slides through tonight, maybe a stray sprinkle, but we're basically dry, down to 34 early Saturday. It's quite a bit cooler tomorrow. Saturday's high 48 with some sunshine. Mostly sunny Sunday and another quick warm up. We start the day near 40. We top out at 70 Sunday afternoon. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Former President Trump has expressed the views many of us have, and that is that Biden's push for electric vehicles is lunacy. And just yesterday, Republican Georgia Governor Kemp said the Biden administration efforts to accelerate the transition to electric vehicles is counterproductive and creating public resistance. And he points out these mandates are pushing the market too quickly. We don't have charging facilities available. Rare earth mineral markets has just collapsed. The whole thing's a mess. And when the government starts mandating things, pushing people, it turns a lot of people off. He's right. He's absolutely right about that. And among those being turned off and obviously concerned would be union workers, members of the UAW at these auto plants. How many of them are going to lose jobs as the companies are forced to go from gas to electric cars? Well, now there's an issue for Joe Biden because union jobs also mean union votes. So now there's a decision in the administration. Maybe we will slow things down a bit. We won't rush forward into electric vehicles so fast. That's political talk for slow down, don't leave the voters in the dust.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Pigeons, they are everywhere, and they're very good at dive bombing freshly washed cars. Wellington Environmental reminds you those droppings are more than a nuisance. They can be a major health issue, especially massive droppings on buildings or in parking garages. So who do you call to safely clean it up? You do what many hospitals, universities, public buildings already do. You call Wellington Environmental. Wellington Environmental has been dealing with all kinds of hazards for 35 years. Special people, special skills, special equipment. Wellington gets it done. So to avoid health issues ranging from pigeon droppings to mold to chemical leaks, contact Wellington. 314-644-4930. 644-4930. WellingtonSTL.com. Wellington Environmental. Your world cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington. McGuire Moving will come to your home or office and give you a free, honest appraisal. Not over the phone. That way you won't be shocked come moving day. Really tight budget? McGuire will offer advice that could save you even more money. McGuire, fully licensed and insured, also has climate-controlled storage for you. McGuireMoving.com. It's that simple. Just remember, you're moving, anything, anytime, McGuireMoving.com.
The news and talk
Texas Governor Abbott writing on social media that he will, quote, hold the line.
that matters to St. Louis.
It's a powder keg.
Need to force Biden to comply with the law.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Dan Bongino here, and I'm proud to be on News Talk STL every weekday from 11 to 2. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Little Mr. Mister.
This is a signature song from the 80s.
This is, it's kind of funny because everybody sings along because of the melody, but this has actually got some, Kyria is an ancient theological reference.
It's Greek for Kyrie eleison.
Right.
So Kyrie is part of Lord have mercy. Kyrie eleison is the whole phrase for Lord have mercy.
Yeah, and everybody was singing along with this in the 80s, especially when MTV came out, and nobody really knew what they were singing. Kind of funny.
Wow. That's pretty awesome.
I am a treasure trove of useless information.
Seriously, that's a lot. That's very treasurish.
Yes.
Very treasury, and also kind of useless.
Totally useless. Totally useless. All right, let's see here. Is preppering becoming quietly mainstream? I got a little bit of a follow-up to what we were talking about yesterday, because, man, we were talking about this yesterday. I'm telling you, the Rumble chat box, man, we had a lot of people commenting on this. I'm starting to think this is more mainstream than what people admit, and I think there's a reason people don't want to admit it. I don't think people want to let your neighbor know that you're all prepped, because when Dookie hits the fan, you don't want people knowing where the stuff is.
Right, exactly. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, but my wife reacted in a very, even for me, surprising way, because obviously I know my wife very well. I did not expect her to be as lean into it as much as she did in the conversation. So I'll tell you about that. All right, let's see here. News Talk STL, great weekend programming. We've got Stiefels on the money. Not just any sort of financial thing. It's not going to be buy this stock, sell that stock. It's an overall look at the economy, what it means to you, what you need to do in your personal finances to make sure that you're not just protecting yourself, but thriving. And that starts at 9 a.m. on Saturdays right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Okay, before I get to that real quick, I saw this story. It came from Reddit. Oh, my goodness. Because sometimes people say, this happened. What do you people think of this?
Yeah.
And so I don't know the name of the person who did this. And I don't even know what city they're in. This was recorded in there. So a 20-year-old young woman had a baby, little girl. And this just shows you how limited the vocabulary is of some young people. This is bad, dude.
Okay.
This is bad.
Yeah.
And so she wanted to pay tribute. When she named her little girl, she wanted to pay tribute to her grandparents.
Okay.
Which is very sweet.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's adorable.
It really is. My son, his middle name, is a family middle name on the Ferguson side, which is Austin. So there's something to that there. But she wanted to honor her grandparents, Harvey and Charlotte.
Okay, Harvey and Charlotte.
Harvey and Charlotte were her grandparents.
Okay.
So she decided to combine their names.
Okay.
And she named her little baby girl Harlot.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, boy. and she didn't realize what that term means because limited vocabulary.
Right. And so I was looking at the Reddit thing, and it was posted by, I think it was a sister or cousin, saying, what do we do?
So is it done? Like
that's what she named this child.
Oh, no. It's on the birth certificate.
Did she spell it Harlotte?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. It is spelled Harlotte.
Okay.
Right, you know. And so not Harlot, but still
it doesn't
phonetically.
Matter. It doesn't matter.
But you know what the kids are going to do in school.
Well, assuming that they ever have any sort of education, know what that means.
Well,
but
her teacher's going to have a hard time.
Yeah. And so apparently the reaction when she brought the little baby home and said, "This is little Harlot." Apparently somebody gave a very... You just named your daughter a hoe?
Right, exactly.
And I guess there was a bunch of screaming and a big fight broke out and everything along those lines.
Oh, no.
Because that's apparently when she was informed that what the word harlot actually means.
Right. Yes. Wow.
Oh, my goodness. And the comments, there was not a single sympathetic comment
like, yeah,
in the whole thing.
You're dumb.
Oh, my goodness. Crazy on there. So I'm just saying, also, how did somebody had to know what she wanted to name this child? And I suspect, like at the hospital when you fill out the forms when the baby's born, they probably have some ethical guidelines that like you do not interfere with the naming of this child.
Yeah, you can't.
You ask what the name of the child is. You know, that's like, you know.
Do the spelling, have them spell it out for you.
Right. The name of, like, my son was born, it was Austin Alexander Ferguson. You know, my daughter, Amber Michaela Ferguson. You know, and so they did it, turned it in, and that's the way that it is. And so nobody went, "Oh, by the way, just so you know, you're naming your daughter another word for prostitute."
Right.
Nobody told her that.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
All right, real quick here. So I want to follow up to this prepper thing we talked about yesterday, because the cell phone thing went out.
Right.
Not around here, really.
Not so much.
But the reaction to it was I would say, oversized.
Yes.
Because it was isolated. But the whole country at least knew about the question, whoa, what happens if this happens nationwide?
Yes.
What happens if the not just the grid, but just the telecommunications goes down? And people are really talking about that. And I mentioned like our conversation, and by the way, Rachel thought you calling me prepper curious was hysterical. And she's like, I can hear his voice actually saying that. We were comparing, because I thought with my wife being, you know, a PhD professor and an ethics professor and a business ethics professor and all this. And she actually kind of leaned in. She goes, "This is actually very reasonable."
There you go.
And we got to the part where we said, you know, it used to be growing up, we were told to have 3 days worth of food supplies, medicine. And I said, we were talking, what's the right number? And I think you said 30 days.
Yeah, I was thinking a month. Yeah.
I mean, other people are saying 6 months and stuff, but Rachel's like, you know, that's really reasonable because of how much we depend on technology. That's one central lifeline, and all it takes is one little thing to take it down. And we know that's part of warfare now. And we also know that's part of one human mistake is amplified. So, you know, her logical brain and you know, philosophical brain actually, you know, because we don't have a lot of tolerance like conspiracy theory stuff in our house, but she went, "This is very reasonable.
Yes.
This makes a lot of sense." It was funny because like I had another 3 packages of the shelf life food show up at my house yesterday too.
Right.
And she goes, "Well, how long do those last?" I said, 25 years. And she went, "Whoa, that's really good."
Right.
And
you don't have to worry about it.
I'm prepper curious now, and I think my wife is prepper tolerant.
There you go.
Now,
okay, yeah, there you go.
For this. By the way, so I'm looking, like, for instance, on Rumble here, Laura says, "Bought my emergency medical kit from a wellness company yesterday. Already have generators and water filters. Not too crazy yet." Okay, that's great. Goat Lady says, "Need to get a generator." Righty says we should have a prepper tip of the day. I'm open to that.
Wow. Okay.
Let's talk to these companies, see if we can get some kind of
get a sponsorship
kind of an expert lined up. I like that idea.
Go.
I hadn't even thought about that, Righty. And Lunch Lady says if you're ever a camper, you should already have some prepper items as well. Right? Righty just a second ago says do an on-air taste review. Actually, I think I might do that. I think what we're gonna do, because last night it was so nice. Rachel and I just lit up a fire on the patio. You guys have been on my patio. And it was nice enough. We're like, take advantage of it. We put a fire out there. One of these days, we're going to do a dinner, and I'm just going to grab 1 or 2 of those packets, and that's going to be dinner like from the thing, just to say, 1, to know how we use it, but 2, to see what they taste like. You know, this is something I think is more mainstream than what people realize.
Yeah, and I think part of it is, I mean, besides the whole, you know, being prepared for disasters, and you know, like I said earlier in our discussions, we're kind of being shaped by the various things that have been very disruptive to American life. You know, starting in 9/11 and moving on up, right? Various things, and we're trying to prepare for those things. But I think even more so than that, I think there's a growing rejection of modernity. And let me couch that that term modernity. Not that we want to get rid of technology and go back to the 1800s. It's just that people want a simpler life. They want a less urbanized life. They don't want to be living on top of one another, working on top of one another, concentrated in these cities. There's so many people, even young people on these TikTok and Instagram, things like that, talking about, I want to go live on a farm someplace. Like this, that's the dream now. Instead of I want to live in a swanky apartment downtown and live the high life, they're like, I want a quiet life someplace where I can take care of sheep.
Do you think also there's a safety aspect of this as well, to where I am safer away from concentrations of people?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, among the disasters, essentially, that I started with 9/11, I talked about the gas pipeline that was taken over. We've got the riots. There have been so many mass violence events in America, particularly in the cities, in the high concentration areas, that you got to think that those people are just like, I can't live here anymore.
And it's not even just the riots. I mean, you and I, fully grown adult men, we don't want to go into the city of St. Louis at night.
Right.
And we live in the St. Louis region.
That's true.
Because you just, at any point, even if it's not a criminal, somebody going 100 miles an hour down Grand Avenue can take you out at any point, just because that's the nature of urban living and what it's become. My daughter is 26. She against my advice, moved into the city.
And
wanted
to be close to work, right?
Or it was close to work. She's got one of those cool apartments, and even a few months ago, she goes, Dad, I think I need to get out of the city. I'm like, yes, yes, please do. You're my daughter. I don't want you in the city. I mean, so even she's at the age of 26. She'll be 27 this year. No, I'm sorry. She'll be 25. She'll be 26 this year. And so she's like, yeah, I think I need the city, urban city thing's not. Now she'll probably move into the county.
Sure.
But that's fine. You know.
Everybody wants to touch grass.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Larry Connors, he pointed out that there is actually a film that's out there now on Netflix now. Now, he does caution because it's an Obama production thing, but it's called, let me scroll up here. We have so many people who are, with Julia Roberts, Leave the World Behind, deals with a communications blackout. So just, be forewarned, but it's an interesting concept as well.
That's the one that they financed partially. The Obamas put some money in there. So you got that one, and you also have Civil War coming out soon.
Yep.
That looks awful.
That one's coming out in theaters.
That looks terrible.
So combine those, and psychologically, folks are going to be wondering, oh my gosh, what's going on?
What's happening?
And then you remember the Don't Look Up on Netflix?
That
was the one with Leonardo DiCaprio and some of the others, and basically it was the meteor hit the world, destroyed all the life in it. Yeah, that was so dumb. That was dumb.
There have been some good.
The Civil War one, man. That looks just ridiculous. I saw the trailer for that. I'm like, you've got to be kidding.
If you want some good end of the world stuff, look for like World War Z. And then the Meteor one, Deep Impact, I think, is the better. That one came out around the same time as Armageddon. If you want big, dumb action stuff, like Michael Bay explosions, that's Armageddon. But if you want like a more thoughtful exploration of the possibility of the end of the world, essentially, Deep Impact is a pretty good movie.
I guess I haven't seen that one. I've seen Armageddon, and there was one scene that was so freaking creepy in there. I'll tell you what it is after this information segment, because coming up, it's going to be 7:52 on a Friday, which means...
Not today, Satan.
Heck yeah.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this dysfunctional radio station. It's The Right Mind Show with me, Todd Showalter, at 5 on Saturday. And, you know, speaking of dysfunctional, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I saw this performed live over at the Fox Theater years ago.
Did you really?
Yeah, the remnants of Yes.
Oh, nice.
It was Anderson, Buford, and Wakeman.
That's still a great lineup.
Yep. They performed. It was Rachel and I went on a double date. Went and saw this. This and of course Roundabout were the big hits of the show.
And John Anderson's voice is still
he was fantastic. I did not realize he's only 2.5 feet tall.
He's a small guy.
He's like an elf. It was amazing.
That's funny.
And man, he sounded great. By the way, is it too early to mobilize the conservative movement and prepare for a Republican president in 2025? Just assume it's going to happen and get ready and lay the groundwork for the transition that has to happen. Is it too early to do that now? All right, the Heritage Foundation is getting that done. We're going to find out why at 8:05. I actually saw this trending on Twitter today, and I lined up this discussion yesterday. By the way, real quick, you mentioned Armageddon.
Yes.
I said there's one part of there that was so creepy.
Yeah. What part?
Okay, so there's the scene where Liv Tyler and
the boyfriend
the boyfriend
or the dad?
No, the boyfriend.
I don't remember the dad,
it's not Matt Damon, who's the other one that's attached.
Ben Affleck?
Ben Affleck.
Okay.
That's right. That's the one who's always attached to at his hip.
Yes.
Okay, so Ben Affleck is the protagonist, and
Yes.
Liv Tyler is the love interest.
Right.
And they have the scene where they're making out.
Yeah.
Okay. The music that was played over that was "I Don't Want to Miss a Thing," sung by her dad.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Steven Tyler.
Steven Tyler's
That's
voice
right.
is providing the soundtrack to the makeout scene with his daughter.
That's right. I do remember that.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
That did feel a little weird.
All right, I've said my piece on that.
Okay. All right, so this segment is brought to you by Paw Factory Pet Supplies. Enter code NOTTODAY-SATAN for 15% off your treats, toys, and training equipment at pawfactory.co. That's pawfactory.co. Now, without further ado, it's the weird, the wacky, and the worrisome. These are the stories that make you say.
Look all the devil.
Oh, hell no.
This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening. Devil.
Just only way to be sure.
Not today, Satan. Not today. Amen.
Flying commercial these days is awful. Okay, so the nickel and dime style fee structure, invasive TSA security procedures, and the cramped seats are enough. But now add maggots falling on you from the overhead compartment.
What the?
No, God, please, no. No!
This story, man, it gives you the creepy crawly. Sorry if you're having breakfast. A passenger on a Delta flight from Amsterdam to Detroit said maggots fell on a woman next to him from an overhead bin, causing the plane to turn around an hour after departing. She was freaking out, said Philip Scott, or Philip Schote, I think maybe is the pronunciation there, a Netherlands native who lives in Iowa. The flight attendants tracked the insects to a passenger's bag in the overhead compartment where he had stored a fish wrapped in newspaper, which was now rotting and infested.
Straight to jail.
It It was in his check bag or his carry-on bag. You think they would have seen it in the little X-ray machine?
Okay, so they grab my junk and make me throw away my protein shake.
Yep.
But fish with maggots in it gets through.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. Yes, like I said, they were only an hour in, so the pilot returned to Amsterdam, where everyone was cleared out of the plane and put on a new flight. So gross.
And they should all be able to slap that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Everybody should have had a turn.
I know. We're short on time.
Sorry. Firefighters in Massachusetts said major traffic delays were caused when an overturned truck spilled about 10,000 gallons of milk onto a Massachusetts turnpike.
Well, isn't that special?
Yeah, the Auburn Fire Rescue Department said the truck rolled over on the ramp from Route 12 west to Interstate 90 west in Auburn, causing 10,000 gallons of milk and a large amount of diesel fuel to spill onto the roadway. No injuries were reported as a result of the crash, and nobody cried over the spilled milk. But traffic was spoiled for several hours while they cleaned up. I will not apologize for my puns because they do a body good.
Oh, man. And can you imagine, even after they hosed everything down, what that area smelled like?
Yes.
Like
oh, my
the
gosh.
next day?
So gross.
No,
Ugh.
no.
All right. Now, our last story here. A Georgia family said they had to evacuate their home when it became infested by a colony of bats.
Get behind me, Satan!
Monica and Isaiah Grant moved from Chicago to the rental home in Savannah's Ardley Park neighborhood less than a year ago, and they encountered their first bat in mid-January. Several more encounters later, and Monica was out. She said, quote, and there was another one in the event, and that's when we were like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Something is seriously wrong with this house. and it was. Grant said exterminators who viewed the home told her the situation is worse than anything they had ever seen. The family is currently staying with neighbors.
You want bats outside your home. You don't want them inside. Bats are good.
Yes.
Just not inside the house.
Yeah, when it comes to sharing your house with 100 flying rats, you know what I'm saying.
Look all the devil.
Oh, hell no.
This can't be happening, man. This isn't happening. Devil.
It's the only way to be sure.
Not today, Satan. Not today. Amen.
Okay, I just got asked on Rumble if I identify as Prepper Curious, then what are my new pronouns?
Wow.
I don't know. Help me out, folks.
That's a good one, yeah.
All right, is it too early for conservatives to start planning for the transition to a Republican president? Jumping the gun, or is this a smart thing to do?
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Being a huge wireless carrier does not mean never having to say you're sorry. AT&T is apologizing for yesterday's nationwide cellular outage. It knocked out service to tens of thousands of customers.
The Dallas-based company says the outage appeared to be the result of human error in coding while it was expanding its network, not a malicious cyber attack. Outage Tracker Down Detector noted the outages began around 3:30 a.m. Eastern Time Thursday and peaked at around 73,000 reported incidents. The outage led to some self-congratulation among Americans who maintain landline phones in their offices and households, but according to 2022 estimates from the National Center for Health Statistics, 73% of American adults live in households where there are only wireless phones. I'm Jennifer King.
Following a 50-year absence, the United States is back on the moon this morning. A privately owned lunar lander has touched down. It's already sending data back to Earth. More than 30,000 people have disappeared in Ukraine in the 2 years since Russia invaded its neighbor.
The missing include soldiers lost on the battlefield, but also civilians and children who have vanished in a variety of circumstances. For many relatives, the agonizing uncertainty and relentless search for answers has already gone on for 2 years with no end in sight. Akili Desprez from the International Committee of the Red Cross told the AP.
Since February 2022, our teams have been contacted over 100,000 times by families.
Over the past 2 years, many volunteer projects have arisen to help search for missing people, often serving as a last resort for relatives who receive no official information from authorities. I'm Karen Chamas.
On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, stock futures are higher. Right now, the Dow futures are up 57 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 24. The S&P futures 9 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
This is Dennis Prager, and now a truly exciting new benefit. My monthly online video get-together for Pragertopia Plus members only. For an hour each month, get an exclusive chance to ask me anything. I'll be answering your questions. I've never done this. Submit your questions for me at Pragertopia.com. This is our chance to connect like never before. Go to Pragertopia.com or click the banner.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Some weather whiplash heading into the weekend, but today looks good. Sunshine in control, up to 62. Turning breezy as winds go westerly and gust up to 25 miles per hour. Quick cold front slides through tonight, maybe a stray sprinkle, but we're basically dry, down to 34 early Saturday. It's quite a bit cooler tomorrow. Saturday's high 48 with some sunshine. Mostly sunny Sunday and another quick warm-up. We start the day near 40. We top out at 70 Sunday afternoon. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Senior Memorial. Give Benjamin Schaefer a call at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
This is Rob with St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, and we'd like to let you know you don't have to maintain the grout in your home anymore. The grout on the floor or in your shower or bath area. How would you like zero grout in your bathroom? At St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, we focus on grout-free options for your bathroom. If you hate cleaning grout, St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, 314-477-6476. 314-477-6476. Give us a call.
Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy?
Gabe Pfeiffer.
There's something serious I have to tell you about the future.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
Hey, will you guys knock it off?
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
It's Friday!
Okay, it's one thing for conservatives to say we really hope to beat Joe Biden and that you retire him after the election and come 2025, there's a Republican in the White House. It's another one to say, let's go ahead and start the work of transitioning to a new administration, to a new process as well, even before the election. The Heritage Foundation is already leading that effort. It is called Project 2025, and we're going to talk about that and why it matters right now. Matter of fact, earlier today, literally on Twitter X, that was one of the trending things that I saw on mine was Project 2025 was actually trending on there. We're now joined by Spencer. Okay, say the last name for me. Chretien. He got it on the first try, Spencer. I'm going to admit that if he did not ask you, I was going to get it wrong. But Spencer Chretien from the Heritage Foundation, thanks for being on the show. Okay, first and foremost, before we get into the how is it going to work and why and all that sort of thing, explain what Project 2025 is as a concept. Then what is it that the Heritage Foundation is trying to do? Because this isn't just you. You're trying to, I guess, sort of assemble the Avengers in order to get ready for the next phase of American leadership.
That's right, and thank you for having me on the show this morning. Well, Project 2025 is organized, as you mentioned, by the Heritage Foundation, but we now have over 100 conservative organizations from around the country that have come together in support of this effort. And we've got groups based in D.C., groups based in the states. We've got people from all over the country involved and all different flavors of conservatives. And what we've done is come together in support of a successful conservative administration. You know, we don't speak for any candidate or campaign. Their job is to win. But what we're doing is organizing ahead of time. We have a policy book called Mandate for Leadership that's available for free at project2025.org. And it kind of provides a conservative vision for every federal agency. We also have a presidential personnel database and a training academy where people can sign up and learn about what it's like to serve at the pleasure of the president and what it's going to take, what kind of people the next president is going to need to help him defeat the deep state.
Morning, Spencer. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So describe what the 4 pillars are. I'm seeing this term being used. What are those?
Sure. The 4 pillars are pillar 1 is our policy book, Mandate for Leadership, that I mentioned. It's more than 900 pages. And what we did was we provided a blueprint for the next president to consider at each agency. So there's a chapter on the Department of Defense. There's a chapter on the Department of State. There's a chapter on the Department of Health and Human Services. And it looks at what the big overall issues are and what a conservative president is going to be needing to do at that agency. The second pillar is the database that I mentioned. So when you consider the size of the federal bureaucracy, there are about 2.2 million full-time non-military federal employees. And traditionally, only about 3,000 to 4,000 people actually can get hired and fired by the president. So it's not a great ratio. Conservatives are really outnumbered in Washington, D.C., and the bureaucracy is against us. The left is well ahead of us in terms of putting its people on the inside of government. So what we need to do for the next conservative administration is make sure that we have a team there that's ready to go, that can manage the bureaucracy and can deconstruct the administrative state. So that's the second pillar of the project. We want 20,000 people in this database by November. And then pillar 3 is our training academy that I mentioned. You know, government service doesn't come as naturally to conservatives as it does to liberals. So we have online, on-demand, interactive videos and quizzes, and basically we've got almost 30 of them now. But you can learn about what it's like to work in Washington, how to do your financial disclosure, how to get a security clearance, how to deal with the media, things that you have to be aware of if you're going to be working against the deep state on behalf of a future conservative president. And then the fourth pillar is what we call our 180-day playbook. You know, when a president comes into office, he or one day she has the most political capital at the very beginning of the term for the first few months. So what we're doing is taking the big ideas in our 900-page book and expanding, fleshing them out, getting more granular as to a plan to identify the key points at each federal agency and plan to make sure that we have robust political control of this vast federal bureaucracy. And, you know, again, we are not, we don't endorse candidates. We don't speak for any candidate. We're just trying to organize ahead of time, do the work ahead of time, and be able to provide options. The next president can decide, you know, it's ultimately up to him, but we are uniting the conservative movement behind the principles that we need to take our country back.
Okay, Spencer, let me ask the obvious question, and I'm sure you're getting a lot of this pushback, and that is, we're still several months away from the election. There's no guarantee a Republican's going to get elected. It seems unlikely that a conservative is going to get elected. And then even with that, will that person, if it's a Republican who gets elected, are they going to take what you're putting together and adopt it, or are they going to say, thanks, but no thanks, I got my own thing? So are we getting out ahead of ourselves trying to lay this groundwork? And if that's a risk, why go ahead and put all of this effort to it for Project 2025?
Well, it's a good question. I think in the long term, conservatives need a plan to recapture our institutions. As I said, we're very far behind the left. And that's especially true in the federal government. And so there is value to organizing and preparing ahead of time. The left is always doing this. They've got their billionaires, they've got their nonprofits and foundations. They're always ready to go when there's a Democrat president. They're always thinking about serving in government. It comes more naturally to them. And we need to close this gap on the right long term. So our goal is that, not just that this project ends in 2025, but actually that it serves as the long-term conservative infrastructure to train our people up and prepare for government service by conservatives. Now, it's ultimately up, of course, to the winning campaign what to take. The Heritage Foundation has served as a resource for conservative presidents, including President Trump, President Reagan, and in fact, in 1980, that was the first version of Mandate for Leadership that came out, and President Reagan put one on every cabinet member's chair at the first cabinet meeting. So we're kind of building on that long history, but also taking it to the next level, doing this work bigger and better for whoever it is and however much they want to take.
Okay, that was an excellent answer.
Spencer, when I look at the administrative state, it just seems completely unwieldy. It seems like an impossible task to try to get them under control. So how do you plan on getting there from here? It seems impossible.
It's a very good question. There's a reason why the administrative state is so powerful, and that's because the system in Washington is built towards the status quo. And so the number one way to deconstruct the administrative state is with the right people, with people who have been trained up ahead of time, who are going to be responsive to presidential leadership, and who are going to have sharp political judgment that helps them manage the bureaucracy. All of the policies now, all of the regulations now, they can be undone if we have the knowledge and the will to undo them. If they could make all of the federal workforce work remotely at the beginning of COVID in just a couple days, then it should take just a couple days to require that they all go back into the office, for example. So we need a strong political leadership, and we need to reassert the principle that we've got three branches of government, and the checks on the president come from the judicial branch and the legislative branch, but they're not supposed to come from within the executive branch.
Hey, good morning, Spencer. Stal Ponticus here. So let's say groups in different parts of the country, including here in St. Louis, want to get together, reach out to their community, and help you guys build up a foundation. Do you have folks available in your leadership who can go out to different parts of the country to help folks out?
Yes, we do. I and my boss and others on our team have done a lot of traveling to different parts of the country. We always like doing that. We've spoken to conservative grassroots organizations. We've spoken at colleges and universities. We've attended other conferences. We're at CPAC this week. I'll be heading there soon. So we get out on the road quite a bit and meet different people who are interested in the project. And folks can sign up at project2025.org if they're interested. And we look forward to doing more of that travel in the next few months here.
All right, project2025.org, you've referenced that website a couple of times. Basically, we go out there, we're going to find what? The outline of what you're working on, or is this still a product in progress?
So at the website, you can read for free our entire policy book, Mandate for Leadership, and it's all there if you click policy. Then you can also sign up for our presidential personnel database and our Presidential Administration Academy. If you are interested or you would one day like to come to Washington and serve a future administration and fight the deep state, you can build out your profile. You can sign up for our training courses. So that's what's on the website. You can also check out the list of our more than 100 advisory board organizations, a lot of which do their own events and programming that we encourage people to check out. So the main thing is signing up for the database and the training and familiarizing yourself with or reading the whole thing of our policy book. That's all on the website.
Okay, so project2025.org is that website. Of course, heritage.org, otherwise for everything Heritage does. All right, Spencer, hey, really appreciate the update because I thought it was interesting. We booked this interview yesterday, and then today I look on and I see Project 2025 trending on Twitter, so somebody's out there paying attention to this.
The left is paying attention. They know that we're onto them, and they're afraid, and they should be, because we're going to dismantle the administrative state hopefully next year.
All right, Spencer, once again, thanks so much.
Thanks, Spencer.
Thank you.
All right, 314-912-1019. Got some thoughts on that because the obvious question, like I said, is, hey, you haven't even won an election yet at this point. But if you start on day one, election day, there's no way you can tackle a monster like that.
And like he mentioned, Democrats are really good at that.
Very good at that. And I was thinking while he was talking, I said, you know what? Every state conservative movement, I'm not just talking about the Republican Party, because Republican parties may or may not be conservative, but the conservative movement should be doing something like this with every election within their state. Conservatives should be ready to go to a new Republican governor, because we're going to have a new Republican governor in 2025. Yes, I know Democrats are going to have a candidate, but they're not going to win. So we're going to have a new Republican governor, and there should be somebody to say, here's what the conservative movement expects, and here's how we're willing to help. Great idea. All right, we're going to dump some news on you just ahead here on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You want to give me more information? You want to take the place of what I trust? Turn on your colored box, you look for some answers. For false impressions, well, baby, they will last forever. Stop it right now! I have had enough of this.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Missouri education officials must be bad poker players. They keep doubling down on the same bad bet. Public school students haven't been reading or doing math at their grade level for way too long. Last year, a horrifying 40% were regarded as not college or career ready after high school. Many states have adopted school choice. Iowa, Oklahoma, and Arkansas all provide money so families can choose the public or private school that works for them. And Kansas has one of the strongest public school choice programs in the nation. Nearly every family in Missouri is given exactly 2 choices for their children's education. They're assigned public school or learning online. That's it. Our neighbors trust their parents to choose the right school for their kids. Missouri doesn't. so enrollment is already shrinking. That will mean fewer high school graduates, college students, and workers. A bad bet indeed. Check out our 2024 blueprint, moving Missouri forward at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo for the cleaning pros at Zero Res, who are spreading the love for the month of February. We've trusted Zero Res with our home for years, and right now they have an incredible offer. Just book a cleaning in the month of February and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $119, plus they'll throw in a free hallway, and you can take $50 off an air duct cleaning. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
News Talk STL. Always streaming on your smart speaker, our mobile app, or newstalkstl.com.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
One of my favorite Eddie Money songs. Love this song. The video cracks me up too, because Stell puts the videos up on the Mike Ferguson in the Morning page too. You remember this video?
Vaguely.
He's a vampire.
Oh,
It's a black and white. He's a vampire, and it's really early 80s cheese-tastic. It is cheesy-tastic.
Okay.
It's a fun video. And again, one of my favorite Eddie Money songs.
Yeah, it is.
I got to see him in concert. Gosh, when was that? 2011 or something like that. He died in 2017, 2018, something like that.
Sometime a few
and
years
I saw
ago.
him, I think 2011, 2012, somewhere in there, at the casino in Boonville. So, I almost fell into that trap. I saw him before he died. Well, of course you did. He didn't do any concerts after he died.
Yeah. That's kind of how that goes.
Yeah, that's really. All right, let's see here. Protecting Missouri State Constitution, protecting Illinois taxpayers. Good luck with that. Got up some updates on both of those. And Uncle Charlie gets to play on a new stage. Little Cardinals news that's not quite the usual Cardinals news.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, when it comes to somebody asking me, since I'm now prepper curious, what are my pronouns? Righty says my pronouns are guns and butter.
Nice.
Oh, my goodness. All right, it is 8:23. Gabe's here, Stell's here. My name is Mike. All right, initiative petition reform, 1/3 of the way to getting done in Missouri. And I say 1/3 of the way, but don't think for a minute that we can't take 2 or 3 steps back if the Republican establishment decides to pull their shenanigans again.
They could still blow it up.
Yeah. And did I just find an excuse to say the word shenanigans on the radio?
Yes.
I did.
Yes.
All right, the state Senate approved the referendum question, and what that would do is add to the requirement to change the state constitution. It would go from the current requirement, which is just simple majority to change the state constitution, to adding a regional approval thing as well. So here's what it would happen. If voters approve this, in addition to passing with 50% plus 1 of the vote statewide, which is what it is right now, and it's not enough, instead of raising the vote threshold, there would have to be 50% plus 1 votes in 5 of the 8 congressional districts. So it's modeled after the United States Constitution.
Right.
And that means that basically District 1 in St. Louis and District 5 in Kansas City cannot run the table on the rest of the state. At least there has to be a consensus statewide, at least a slim majority throughout the majority of the state, not just in the concentrated population centers.
Right.
So this is the right move. The move now goes to the state house, where they may or may not play games with it. The votes are there to pass it. There's no filibuster available. The Republicans should just simply pass it as is. And I know there were some good things stripped out of it. And yes, I'm frustrated with that too. But I do not want to see somebody play games and say, you know what, this isn't good enough. We're going to make it better. Let's add those things back and then send it back to the Senate and give Caleb Rowden an excuse to kill it by running out the clock.
That would definitely be a, what's the term? Cutting off your nose to spite your face sort of move by Republicans in the House.
Yeah. So take the safest path right now.
Get what you can get.
Yeah. As far as the parts about saying banning foreign influence in our elections, codifying the fact that non-citizens cannot vote in Missouri, pass a law.
Yeah, we can get there.
We can go back and get that later.
Mm-hmm.
Don't waste the opportunity to put this on the ballot over that now. Yes, I would like to have seen those things in there.
Sure.
It would have been better if it were in there.
Absolutely.
In this case right here, though, you know what? Just move forward. The clock is ticking. Don't give the establishment a chance to run the clock out on it. Okay, we talked about Joe Biden bragging about forgiving more student loans.
Yeah.
1 point whatever billion dollars.
In spite of the Supreme Court.
In spite of the Supreme Court, trying to find workarounds. And Eric Schmidt, Missouri U.S. Senator, was on Laura Ingram's show last night on Fox, and he had this response.
It's a slap in the face to working America, to middle-class families, to the people that paid back their student loans, the people who made different life decisions or decided not to take out loans or work their way through college. I mean, it's totally ridiculous, and he's at it again, and he's in a cynical ploy here to try to buy votes.
And again, I think a lot of us think that we're winning the argument on the right when we point out, we're saying, oh, yeah, all he's trying to do is buy votes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the left probably nakedly says, yeah.
It's like, hey, he's buying votes. Yeah,
you know
that's
why?
cool.
Because we'll win.
And those votes are for sale.
They really are. You go talk to your typical 25, 26, 27-year-old who's getting hit with those student loans. They're like, what? Consequences of my own choices? I don't like this.
Somebody help.
I have a right to go do my summer in Europe. And you're telling me I have to pay $600 a month to pay back the student loan that I voluntarily took out? So when Joe Biden and the Democrats and the candidates say, we're going to try to cancel your student loan debt, of course they're going to go, my vote's for sale.
Yes, absolutely.
Don't underestimate how powerful that is, people.
Yeah, it's a automatic sort of downturn for the Republic when the people discovered they can vote themselves money from the Treasury.
And if you're thinking, well, things are so bad, there's no way that people are going to reelect Democrats or elect Democrats at any level. Can I just point out 2022?
Yeah, the red wave that wasn't. We have to remember that.
And who decided a lot of those races? Young voters.
You got to take the lesson, guys.
Yep. All right. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says more sanctions on Russia are coming, and this is after the death of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny. Here's what he had to say at a press conference.
The fact that Vladimir Putin saw it necessary to persecute, poison, and imprison one man speaks volumes, not about Russia's strength under Putin, but its weakness.
And of course, literally at one point, the Kremlin was saying, well, he died of sudden death syndrome. They actually tried to tell his family. Sudden death syndrome.
Okay. Does that include a needle with radioactive material in it?
It's you die of natural causes because naturally you're going to die when you're poisoned.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a sudden death syndrome because he died suddenly.
Right.
When I killed him.
Good.
That's Russian for you.
Oh man. All right. I'm sure Vladimir Putin is shaking in his boots that Joe Biden would threaten to issue more sanctions. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker gave a State of the State address this week. As you would expect, lot of very big government, very big, expensive, intrusive government. State Representative Patrick Windhorse, a Republican, responds to a speech from the Capitol.
He proposed a budget that is going to be record spending and also be in a deficit of about $700 million. We've been warning that this would happen as Republicans, as we've seen spending increase year after year, and now we're going to see tax increases to help balance that budget. We should address the issues here in the state of Illinois. We should be spending money on our citizens and not focused on the immigration crisis. That needs to be solved at the national level, and we need to deal with the issues here in Illinois.
And by the way, we had a great conversation with State Representative Blaine Wilhour a little bit earlier. He's part of the Freedom Caucus. That's going to be posted on our podcast segment of the website. Or if you subscribe to the podcast, you'll just get an alert and you can listen to it then. Definitely worth listening to, so be sure to check that out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, want to work for the Cardinals?
That sounds fun.
I want to work for the Cardinals, but they already have a catcher. There's a job fair for game day positions, including like ushers and event attendants, that's happening tomorrow. They are doing open interviews from 10 a.m. to noon. This is in the Redbird Club at Busch Stadium. Show up if you're at least 16 years old, and they will interview you possibly to work their parking lot C for free. basically Lot C and the entrance right by home plate, which is right off 8th Street. There'll be signs and everything if you want to apply there. Let's see here. Blues wrap up their homestand on a good note, shutting the Islanders out yesterday. Final score at Enterprise was 4-0. That was their 30th win of the season. So
wow.
We're actually in not bad shape.
Okay.
Today's a travel day. The Blues have the NHL's early game on Saturday. They play the Red Wings in Detroit at 11 a.m. Cardinals start spring training baseball tomorrow. 2 different games for the Cardinals, split squad. Part of the team's going to host the Marlins. That's going to be on Valley Sports Midwest. Another part of the team is going to play the Mets. That's going to be on MLB TV. And Uncle Charlie gets to play on country music's most legendary stage.
Yeah.
This is something. On March 9th, Adam Wainwright is going to perform at the Grand Ole Opry. Wainwright's first single, which he did perform at Busch Stadium last year, is officially available as of today. It is called Time to Fly. So if you are a country music aficionado, or you just want to give Uncle Charlie, Adam Wainwright, some support, just look up Adam Wainwright's music, and you can listen to the song and download and buy it right there.
That's got to be a dream come true for him.
Oh, it's got to be.
Really. I mean, if you grew up a fan of country music, playing at the Grand Ole Opry is like that's the pinnacle, right?
And I think I think the Oak Ridge Boys are going to be there, too.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, I love the Oak Ridge Boys. That's cool. I'm not even a country music guy, and I love the Oak Ridge Boys. That's going to be a lot of cool. And I saw the picture of, like, his promotional picture. He just looks like any other country music. I mean, he totally looks like a country music singer.
Looks the part.
He's got that, that all-American smile and the cowboy hat and the belt buckle and
There
the
you
whole
go.
thing out. So,
And speaking of the job fair, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no. Say it. So, congratulations, to
Exactly,
Adam
congratulations. And speaking of the job fair, you could maybe apply as bullpen catcher.
Wainwright. I'd do it unless Hicks is throwing 104.
You want to hurt
I would
yourself.
do it otherwise because I could put the glove there. They hit their targets there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'd
there you
do
go.
it, man. I would do it. Absolutely.
That sounds fun.
I don't think I should read Goat Lady's comments here on Rumble.
Uh-oh. What's she commenting on?
The Blues game tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow?
Yeah.
Versus who?
The Red Wings.
Yeah, what about it?
Should I read that she wrote Go Wings?
Ooh. Controversy.
No, I don't think I should. I'm not. I'm sorry,
we
Goat Lady.
can't, we
I
can't
am
do that.
not reading
We can't do that here.
Absolutely not.
We don't do that here.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Some weather whiplash heading into the weekend, but today looks good. Sunshine in control, up to 62, turning breezy as winds go westerly and gust up to 25 miles per hour. Quick cold front slides through tonight, maybe a stray sprinkle, but we're basically dry, down to 34 early Saturday. It's quite a bit cooler tomorrow. Saturday's high 48 with some sunshine. Mostly sunny Sunday and another quick warm-up. We start the day near 40. We top out at 70 Sunday afternoon. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shane.
Fox News commentary.
Sleepy Joe is attempting to bribe young people again, but don't worry, you'll be paying for this too. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Joe Biden announced he is forgiving $1.2 billion in debt for nearly 153,000 borrowers. But of course, we know that Joe himself won't be forgiving anything. You, the American taxpayer, will foot this bill. Joe attempted to forgive a lot more than that, but the Supreme Court stood in his way. So this is his workaround. Through the Saving on a Valuable Education SAVE plan, those who took out less than $12,000 can have their debt forgiven after 10 years of payments. Again, there is no such thing as forgiving or canceling debt into thin air. It just means the American taxpayer taxpayer will absorb that cost, including those who already repaid their loans and those who never went to college or took out loans to begin with. This student loan forgiveness push is just a way for Joe and Democrats to garner favor with young voters. In reality, what it's teaching borrowers is that the commitment they made can be broken if the president needs votes. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
Tim Jones here with Stewie, the bagel loan guy. Stewie, mom and dad always told me don't refinance unless you can save at least 1 percentage point. What say you?
We're going to break that rule of thumb with the bagel loan. No closing costs at all. Now, your mom always told you that because there was $4,000 in fees you had to pay. If you're saving $100 a month, it takes you 40 months to recoup it. With the bagel loan, no closing costs at all.
What happens if rates drop?
Tim, just do it again. As long as it doesn't cost you anything, you'll be way ahead of the game, and that's what counts.
314-324-4440, or better yet, just Google the bagel loan.
MLS number 226715.
Hey, St. Louis, my name is Rob Carter. My new primetime show will explore the collaboration between corrupt media and our corrupted political system. From manipulated elections, open borders, mandated medicines, and unconstitutional lockdowns, what is going on?
The Rob Carter Show.
Let's talk about it on The Rob Carter Show. Join me weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. on News Talk STL.
Rob Carter, live and local, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL.
Do you or a family member have health care coverage through Missouri Medicaid or Mo Health Net? The Family Support Division is required to make sure everyone still qualifies. You may need to take action to avoid losing coverage. Check your mail for notices from the Family Support Division and visit mydss.mo.gov/renew to create an account on the new benefit portal and to check renewal dates. That's mydss.mo.gov/renew. This message is sponsored by the Missouri Department of Social Services.
This is what's happening.
My memory is fine. I don't remember. If you think I don't have the energy level or the mental acuity, then that's one thing. I don't remember.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hello, morning people. Tony Colombo and Katie Fitzpatrick here.
Thanks for listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL. And don't forget to join us today at 2 for Colombo and Katie.
See you then.
It's Friday.
Little U2, Where the Streets Have No Name.
Classic song. Another request for Flashback Friday.
Nice, nice. So if you got some requests for next Flashback Friday, send them to us on social media now or email us, either Gabe or Mike or Stel, STEL1L, at newstalkstl.com. U2 had to grow on me. I'm good in that. It wasn't until the Joshua Tree that I really went, okay, I get it. These guys are great. But it took a while. Probably because they were not, like, they were the anti-glam hair metal bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate that they gave me an album I didn't ask for. You remember
That's
that?
right, for Apple.
Remember that? It was it was part of all Apple products. It was just sitting there. It's like, what is this? Why do I have it? And why can't I get rid of it?
All right, 8:38. Got Gabe here, got Stel here. I'm Mike. We were talking about the AI being completely woke and politically correct and everything yesterday.
Yeah.
The memes were pretty spectacular.
Oh, gosh, they were so good.
Because, by the way, by the time we got done with the show here, we weren't the only ones that mentioned this. Within hours of the show yesterday, it is all over every network. It's all over every news source. Even the mainstream media had to start talking about it. So we were a little ahead of the curve on that one. But like I sent you guys a meme last night. Somebody just took a picture of burnt toast.
Yeah.
and what they wrote on it, they said, I asked AI to draw me a picture of white bread.
And then this is what you give you. That was great.
The thing is that they were forced to admit, we were trying to inject diversity and inclusion to the point where it was historically inaccurate and just ridiculous.
It was horrible. Now, this may be an overcorrection from a controversy from back in 2015. I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was the Google's photo recognition software. It was an algorithm. These are kind of early days of and precursors to AI, because AI needs to be able to recognize aspects of images that it feeds into itself in order to generate. So
would that be similar technology to what we use now as like facial recognition?
Yes,
and things like that?
it's exactly that. So apparently, back in 2015, the Google algorithm that was going through people's pictures were identifying this one black guy's friends as gorillas.
Oh no!
Yes,
no,
for real, for real. And it would tag the picture. It's like, hey, in frame, 3 gorillas.
Oh man!
So it was beautiful. So in 2015, and of course,
holy. What?
Stuff. Yes, holy stuff. Yes.
Oh.
They were appalled by the mistake. So I guess they overcorrected. So now AI doesn't recognize the Google AI doesn't recognize white people. Like that exist at all. because if you ask it for anything, any sort of relation to white persons.
You know, to be fair, we all kind of do look alike. Sorry. But I mean, I apologize. I'm getting called into HR right now. Sorry.
That's fun out there. I don't care who you are. But one of the things that we've noticed is, people would ask, okay, show me pictures of Vikings, and it would show black tribal people who kind of look like they're wearing Viking gear.
Yeah.
So like.
Which, I mean, listen, you want to be more diverse on some things. Okay. Listen, the Vikings were as Aryan as you could possibly. They were more Aryan than the Germans. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, it was there's nothing more Aryan than that. There's nothing more Caucasian than that.
Yes, so the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, strapping Viking that you would picture in your head when you say, I need a picture of a Viking, was replaced by a really big black guy who looks like he's straight out of Africa.
Yeah.
So that was Google, and somebody asked Google, asked the Google AI, which I believe is called Gemini. They asked it, why did you do this? Essentially, it's like, what's it in your algorithm that's doing this? And apparently, the way they had programmed it was whenever it would start by reading your prompt, and then it would inject terms into the prompt to add, such as diversity or diverse, minority or inclusive, or any number of the standard DAEI woke sort of vocabulary that you would have there.
So, I mean, if you ask them to draw a picture of, I don't know, the Ottoman army, I mean, are you going to get,
furniture?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're going to get that.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you going to get, Hispanic and Asian and black people in wheelchairs with rainbow flags? What are you going to get?
You may get women with pink hair.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, because there was actually when they asked for I think images of a 17th century scientist or something like that. One of them was a woman with long pink hair.
I saw that there was a pope who was an Indian woman.
Yes. It
Yeah.
was an Indian woman pope.
A Catholic pope who was an Indian woman.
Yeah, it's like, show me pictures of the pope, and it would give you the Indian woman.
But now this is also affecting like some stock prices and stuff. I mean, because they're sacrificing truth and historical accuracy in favor of ideology, which just confirms what we have been saying for years in conservative media. But also, you were pointing out a little bit earlier, Stel, before the show started, that when it comes to like stock purchases and corporate stuff, there's a lot of movement and billions of dollars at stake here.
Huge movement yesterday in NVIDIA, spelled NVIDIA. NVIDIA is one of the huge semiconductor companies involved with AI. They went up, and I hope you're sitting down for this, they went up in one day $273 billion.
Excuse me, what?
$1 billion in one day.
Wow.
They actually added Netflix to their value.
Oh, wow.
I know that sounds weird, but...
So the full value of Netflix was added to the value of NVIDIA in one day.
Exactly.
Wow.
Holy crap.
And so I actually asked the Google AI to draw me a picture of Vic Porcelli.
Mafia Don came up, right?
It showed me The Rock. It was...
So you guys mentioned the Vikings and all that.
Yeah.
The Pope?
Yeah,
the Pope.
Yeah,
you said that? You mentioned the Pope?
Indian.
Yeah,
Okay.
there was an Indian woman and a black dude.
And a black guy, yeah.
Well, I mean, there may be a black Pope someday. I mean,
Someday,
I'm not
that's
saying that
possible.
won't happen. It's like,
But we
I mean,
haven't had one yet.
No.
Or a woman. I don't believe.
It's like that hasn't happened either.
I don't get it.
You're supposed to adapt and accept it.
I'm sorry.
You're not supposed to get it. You're supposed to accept it, Vic.
I do look like The Rock, though, don't I?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I'm like, you walk in, I'm like, DJ.
I see it.
Thanks, buddy.
But so that stock, so that's a merger. So the stock value goes up. So if you own Netflix, did you just
that would be the phrase that investors would use?
Yeah,
when they would see this and go, "Oh my gosh, they added Netflix to their company," meaning financially.
They didn't actually add Netflix.
Right.
They add the value.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
That's all right.
So, but they went up because they're the ones who process the things that give us black popes. And,
well, now
That's
to,
right.
be, now to be fair, NVIDIA is only involved kind of on the back end of AI. Their semiconductor production makes all of this stuff possible.
Got it. So they're not the creative content side.
No, not
No.
really.
Okay.
No,
Got
no.
it.
Now, and the other aspect of that too is, and I think everybody should have been watching this to begin with, when there's an initiative to bring semiconductor production back to U.S. shores, that was always going to be a thing. So, because right now we source all of our semiconductors, not all, but a good portion,
at least
80% overseas. Yeah,
Taiwan.
It's Taiwan, and as that situation gets more volatile, we're trying to protect our supply chains because semiconductors are in everything.
Well, not to mention intellectual property.
And then there's the intellectual property aspect of it. So as we're trying to reshore all of those things, NVIDIA being the top semiconductor producer in the United States, of course, was going to be able to make out like a bandit after all this. So I've been watching the idea of the whole semiconductor repatriation thing, and I was supposed to invest in NVIDIA, but I did not.
Oh, so therefore you still need this gig.
I still need this gig.
You don't get to retire.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
No lunch isn't on me yet.
Okay.
Well, following that increase yesterday, they passed Amazon and Alphabet.
Yeah.
So
really,
they are now number 3 behind Microsoft and Apple in
tech.
Overall in business, as far as their total value, their stock value is concerned, they are now number 3.
Oof!
Wow! But that also tells you what the future looks like, and it is all interconnected. And the ones who make the connection points rule the world.
Yes, absolutely. Pay attention to all these things, and also, by the way, the systems that launch the satellites into orbit, like SpaceX and some of these other things, you might want to keep an eye on those guys as well, because interconnectivity is dependent on domination of space.
Yeah.
So that might be part of the equation. We were just talking about the
landing on the moon.
Well, we got the landing. I mean, that was a private company, but also just the fact that when our cell phones went down for a little bit there, like. The people who make the stuff possible for it to be on in the first place are really, really important to our society. So keep an eye on them.
So the cabin that we were talking about, buying some land, and Gabe's got a cabin over here, and I'm going to go down a little bit here and build my own cabin. Stell, you in?
Sure.
Okay. Stell and
it.
Kathy have another one. I don't think that Rachel's going to go with me.
No?
She's like, no, I'm a city girl. My buddy Chris from one of my ball teams, he wants in on this.
You just need to bring city living into your apocalypse house. That's what I'm going to do.
Kathy's ready to go. She's ready right there with you. In fact, she mentioned to me that she's got a meds box that she put together over the last few days. She's got radios around the house. She's got walkie-talkie type radios, and she was looking into getting a ham radio license.
There you go.
She's getting pretty serious about
She's
this.
like really into this.
Oh, yeah.
Even like more so, but then again, I'm just prepper curious. 314-912-1019, 94.1 News Talk STL, number 1 for live and local conservative talk, owned locally. Just pointing that out.
Touch the flame where the streets have no name.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I wanna feel sunlight on my face.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
Steph's Pizza is on the move to Lake St. Louis. That's right, you can now get the legendary Steph's Pizza and Pasta in Lake St. Louis, 111 Pond Fort Trail. Steph's Pizza, where Mondays you get a large pizza for the price of a small, and it just got more convenient for pickup or delivery in Lake St. Louis. Steph's Pizza in the Chesterfield Valley on Long Road, in St. Peter's on Jungerman, and now in Lake St. Louis at 111 Pond Fort Trail. Check them out at stephspizza.com. Tonight's a good night for Steph's Pizza.
It's Lincoln Day in St. Charles County. This is Tim Jones inviting you to join News Talk STL and U.S. Senator Josh Hawley on Friday, March 22nd at Old Hickory Golf Club in St. Charles. Cocktails, dinner, Senator Josh Hawley, and a room full of fellow conservatives. It will be a great, fun night. Just log on to stcharlesgop.com for more details and to purchase tickets, and we'll see you there. That's Friday, March 22nd at Old Hickory Golf Club in St. Charles. stcharlesgop.com, stcharlesgop.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Friday, as my partner says. At 4:20, we'll speak with Everett Jones from Jones Aaron Water. And at 4:40, Cody Smith, Budget Chair and State Treasurer candidate.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Dan Bongino here. Keep it on News Talk STL because my show starts at 11 a.m. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I gotta look this up. I think I thought I saw a story that there's an RV and camper show in St. Louis this weekend.
Let me see.
I gotta double check that. I don't. My weekend is so booked up. I don't think I could go to anything else. But
maybe at the Dome, Gabe. While you're looking it
is
up.
there maybe I missed
America Center.
STL RV Travel Show, 23rd through the 25th.
23rd. Oh, through the 25th.
Yeah, that's this weekend.
Oh, the 25th is Monday, right?
Mm-hmm. America Center.
Oh, I might be able to do that. Monday.
25th Sunday. Today's the 23rd.
Oh, today's 23rd. Yeah. So
today, tomorrow, Sunday.
Yeah. See, I'm booked up like every. Yeah, I don't think I make it.
America Center, you said, Gabe?
Yep. Today, it's actually going on in 10 minutes. It's going to start in 10 minutes, 9 to 8 today and tomorrow, and 9 to 5 on Sunday.
See, I'm really slammed this weekend with other stuff. I just saw that this morning. I'm like, because I want to go see my pop-up camper.
Mm-hmm.
I really want one of these things.
It's only $10 admission.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
For an adult, yeah.
You know, I had a friend who lives in the Buffalo area who went to an RV show somewhere in upstate New York and wound up buying one of those teardrop campers.
I've seen some of those. Yeah.
He loves it.
I keep looking on like Facebook Marketplace. The ads keep popping up for like used pop-up campers, and they're so cool. I drive a Kia Sportage SUV. I don't think that's big enough to haul a typical pop-up camper.
Not a typical one. I think the smaller ones you might be able to. Like the smaller one? The teardrop types. You might be able to get
if there's
one
a
of those.
small one, because that's my wife thinks I'm nuts for even talking about this. She's probably right, because with my baseball schedule, I probably would use it 3 times in a year. And I'd be the guy that like goes to the state park, like Quiver River, to test it, and then go a little farther out, maybe down the Ozarks or something, and like do the thing where you pay $20 and $30 and plug into the electric and just do it that way. I'm not like the hardcore boondocking kind of camper, at least not yet. But that would I just see those. I'm like just the idea to escape and get away, even just for a few days. And I think there are more and more people who are so overwhelmed by the noise, politics, tribalism, the division, the hatred, because there's so much at stake with everything that's political, with everything that's cultural, with everything. I mean, you heard we talked to State Representative Blaine Wilhour earlier, and he said literally the governor of Illinois was so confident in he and his party's position, he could take shots at Christians in his State of the State address.
Yeah, that's wild.
And he will not, and they will not pay a political price for that. So there's no wonder that there are more people who want to just like get away. You know, Gabe and I were talking during one of the information segments earlier. I said, you mentioned a lot of people wanting to look to move away from the urban centers, the urban cores, and not just out to the suburbs.
Right.
We're
talking rural.
Right. Out to those areas. When you look at, for instance, some of the social media influencers, one of the growing trends are things like van life, cabin building, all these kinds of stuff. I mean, there's a million different categories. And these young people are glorifying kind of a nomad living away from any sort of urban structured areas. Now, typically what happens then is I would guess is they would get in their late 20s and like, I really need an apartment.
Yeah.
I really like laundry machines,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So they settle down after they have a nomadic couple of years or whatever. But like the van converting them into rolling apartments are really cool. I'm fascinated by the construction on those things. But I do think you're seeing a hunger in society right now for people to want something different than what we've been told we're supposed to have for generations, which is live the American dream, buy a house, work for 50 years, pay it off, retire, live for 10 or 15 years, watch your grandkids go through school, then die.
Yeah. I mean, now to be fair, I mean that doesn't sound too terrible to me. It's just that where you do it and how you do it,
Right.
maybe where people are starting to break away from what they've been told, right?
Yeah.
So at least in their 20s, they're a lot of the young people. I see these things on TikTok and in Instagram. I don't have TikTok. I just see TikTok
You
videos
see them on Facebook, yeah.
on Facebook
Yeah.
and Instagram and YouTube, things like that. But so they're talking about the ideas like, you know what? I would really like to just live a quiet life out in no man's land.
Yep.
To have like 6 acres around me, there nobody can get to me. I just like to take care of sheep while my my husband works remotely for his job.
Let me also interject here real quick. I've lived in industrial cities. I've lived in major cities, like St. Louis, and I lived in Kansas City for a while. I have lived in rural areas. I've lived in college towns. I have moved a lot. I have lived in a variety of different places. My first working years when I was 13 years old, I did a lot of farm work when I was a kid. There's a lot of people say it's going to be great. I'm going to buy some acreage. I'm going to buy a farm. You don't know how much work that is. So I think there's a lot of people who idealize farm living, but you don't understand how hard that is.
Yeah.
So, just
Be careful.
before you go buy that sheep farm, or whatever it is, or alpacas or whatever it is you want to do, understand that is a lot of work. Maybe buy the acreage, or if you're going to buy the farm, subcontract that out. Because I that's not as idyllic as you think it is. That is really hard work.
Oh yeah, I've got friends who have a ranch out west, and they're actually our location for if it hits the fan. That's we said okay, we're coming here, and they said okay, Bruce, bring your guns. So now I've seen how much work they put into doing what they do. They've got alpacas and peacocks and horses and all kinds of things. So they have a lot. They have a lot of things that they do on their property, and it takes a lot of work. And I'm like, I don't want that aspect of it. Just sitting in their house though, out where they are, looking over their pond as the sun goes down, and watching the swans on the water. That's the part I want.
Yes.
So yeah.
Or maybe get one or two as a hobby.
Yeah.
That's one
At
thing
best.
you could do. But the older I get, the more that just environment appeals to me.
Yeah. And I'm not sure it's you just getting older. It may just be a sign of the times. A lot of people are getting into that stuff.
Oh, yeah. And that shows you a lot of that is a result of what's going wrong in our population centers. So you're trying to get away from as many people as possible while still living a civilized life.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Come join the conversation.
Enable our Alexa skill. Hey, Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Always streaming at newstalkstl.com or on your radio at 1019, 941, and 991 HD3. News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion. Welcome home.
Hi, everybody. It's Todd Showalter from The Right Mind Show. The weather is cold, the world is woke, and our president is a joke.
Gee, Todd, it sounds like people need something to be happy about.
You're darn right, Joey. That's why every Saturday from 5 until 6, it's The Right Mind Show.
Boy, I feel giddy.
I bet you do. That's because we put the fun in our dysfunctional world.
I want to